Today, you are going to learn how to play one whole step higher on the trumpet in 1 week. Sound unbelievable? This is installment 3, or trumpet lesson 3 in this series on how to play higher in 1 week. Let me give you this friendly warning. This is not going to be a tutorial, a trumpet lesson about long tones or lip slurs. Yeah, so I'm not going to give you that generic advice that you already know, or that you likely have already found on YouTube, or that you likely have heard from your trumpet instructor, especially if you're a trumpet major at some college or university. You're not going to get that here. You already know it, or it can be easily found on YouTube. Before I continue, please make sure to subscribe to this channel to get amazing and unusual trumpet lesson tutorials. By the way, also lessons for tuba, trombone, cornet, flugelhorn, French horn, baritone, euphonium. Yes, it's all here at Trumpet Sizzle. So subscribe right now and hit that little bell notification so you'll be alerted anytime I put up a new video. So if you've been following along and watching the other trumpet lessons in this series, you'll notice that each trumpet lesson said you could gain a half step in range in 1 week. But if you listen carefully at the beginning of this video, I told you you could gain an amazing 1 whole step in 1 week. You didn't miss here, and I wasn't fooling around. This particular trumpet lesson is going to focus on technique. Yes, a lot of brute strength is required to play skillfully in the upper register on the trumpet or any brass instrument. However, you cannot forget about technique. Technique is essential. Unfortunately, so many people are using the wrong technique to play and excel in the upper register of the trumpet or any brass instrument. Okay, I can hear you say, Kurt, get on with this. What is this amazing technique you keep referring to that will give me 1 whole step in 1 week? Okay, you ready for the technique? You ready? Are you ready? The technique I'm going to share with you right now is called lip roll-in. Roll-in. R-O-L-L-I-N. Lip roll-in. And it really amazes me how many people don't know about this and how many people don't do it. And for those who know about it, they still don't do it. I can't tell you how many times I've gone on YouTube to see people start their playing and not roll in. And it looks something like this. The lips are just like this. The horn comes up like this. And that's it. There's no rolling. So if I'm going to play in the upper register, it's going to go something like this. No rolling. And what you just heard right now sounded like total crap. Why? No rolling. But you heard at the beginning of this trumpet lesson video, I killed it on Sesame Street. Do you look like this when you play in the upper register of the trumpet? Watch the lips carefully. Let me actually roll in and show you the difference so you can hear it and see it. Want to see it again? Now, let me go ahead and apply that technique of rolling to playing the horn. Remember, this could be applied to tuba, trombone, French horn, baritone, euphonium, cornet, flugelhorn, E-flat cornet. I put the mouthpiece up to my lips. If I'm going to play low, I'm going to keep a low C setting, what I call a low C setting. It could be a low B-flat setting if you're playing a bass clef instrument. A low C setting. Jaws drop down low. More of a pooch in your lips. Not much roll in. Oh, it kind of probably looks like that in the mouthpiece. Oh, lips apart, teeth apart. With the roll in, a couple of things have to accompany this particular technique. The jaw needs to be up, not down like in the low C. Up, teeth almost touching. Lips up and rolled in. Rolled in. More extreme now. Extremely rolled in. If you can master this technique, you will be able to play one whole step higher in 1 week. Too good to be true? Again, this is not a trumpet lesson about building strength to gain 1/2 step in 1 week. It is a technique, and once you learn this technique, your range will go up 1 whole step. For those of you who are trying to count, that's 2 half steps in 1 week. Now here are 2 strategies that can help you gain this technique. Number 1, use a mirror. Yes, you heard right. Practice this technique in front of a mirror. Or maybe you can borrow your mom or sister's makeup mirror. You know, the little round one that flips around and one kind of magnifies and you can just set it on something? So use a mirror to see what's going on and try to shadow and mimic exactly what you saw me do in this video. You're going to roll in. Strategy number 2, get with a professional trumpet instructor who can show you this technique in person or via Skype. Okay, so did you learn something today? If you did, here's a reminder again to subscribe to this channel. There's a lot of amazing content and actionable material that you can use starting right today. Now I want to turn it over to you. Are you going to use this amazing trumpet lesson technique to skyrocket your range in 1 week?
Well, we're waiting.
If you're going to try this technique, could you let us know in the comment section below? And what would really be appreciated would be after 1 week of trying this technique, how did it go? Let everybody know in the comment section. You're just going to be helping other trumpet players and brass musicians when you do that. Again, leave a comment. This has been Kurt Thompson along with TrumpetSizzle.com. And by the way, if you want amazing tutorials, exercises, practice devices, and practice aids to help make you a better musician, a better brass musician, a better trumpet player, then you need to go to TrumpetSizzle.com. And the last word, at the end of this video, you're going to see my top rated trumpet lesson video on the top 2 reasons why you can't play high at the end of this video. Go ahead and click on it. It's one of the number 1 rated trumpet lesson videos on YouTube. And you watch that video and you'll see why. You're going to learn something. This has been Trumpet Lesson 3, or the 3rd installment in the series on how to play your trumpet higher in 1 week by moi, Kurt Thompson. I'll see you in the next one, my friend. On the trumpet in 1 week. The trumpet technique that I'm going to show you today has really helped me improve my range, actually more than a half step. But we're going to let you guys experience the half step increase in range in high notes on your trumpet by using this one amazing technique. And thanks to this one amazing technique that I'm going to show you today, I am able to play extremely well in the upper register of the trumpet. Now let me give you this warning. We're not going to be going over the same old that you already know about. Lip slurs. Okay, let me try some high notes here. Oh, why can't I play high? I'm playing lip slurs. Long tones. Okay, now I can play high. Just did a bunch of long tones. Oh, I still can't play high, even doing long tones. So yeah, this is a warning. You're not going to get that same old advice that you've already been given, long tones and lip slurs. It can only take you so far. You are going to get an amazing, unique technique. I'm Kurt Thompson, TrumpetSizzle.com. Let's dive into it right now. So are you one of those trumpet players that want to play higher? Yeah, me too. You're going to love this technique. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and maybe the ugly of this technique. It's so simple. You're going to be doing Roy Stevens' no pressure system palming. Make your hand like this. Not like this. Not like that. Like this.
Give me a high five.
Your hand stiff and flat. Now I want you to turn it over. This is my left hand. You're going to turn it over. You're going to make it like a shelf. Almost like a shelf. You know, like you could set something on. See? It's a shelf. You can set a mouthpiece on there. See? Just like a shelf. Take your horn. Put it on that shelf. Do not allow your fingers to do this. Even a little bit. Your hands and fingers need to be stiff and straight, almost like popsicle stick. Lay the horn on your hand. Don't grab onto it. Just lay it on like a shelf. If you're not careful, it could actually fall off. That's how you want to do it. It's just like a shelf. Here we go. I want you to put it up to your lips. Now, here's parallel. You can have a little angle on it, which will help seal the vibration. This is parallel, approximately. Here's an angle. Put it up where you normally would play, and play a low C. Easy, right? Yeah. Step 2 in how to play higher on your trumpet for this 1 week technique. On your palm again, and I want you to play 2 notes. So far, so good, right? Yeah. Seems like we have an echo in this room. Step 3, you're going to add a note. So far we've done the low C on trumpet. We did the low C to the G on trumpet. Now we're going to add a 3rd note, the C. This has to be slurred, and it has to be about mezzo forte to forte, which means medium loud to loud. Remember, hands like a shelf. Lay the trumpet on the shelf. Parallel, you can add an angle to it. You want to play as high as you possibly can. Now, you're going to keep adding notes until you can't play anymore. Let's add a note. Now we'll be going to E. You think you can go up to an E? It's not that hard, is it? Do you think that you can go to an E? It's not that high, right? Yeah. Shelf. Horn. Did you notice something? Each time I start down on the low C, we went low C, G, low C, G, C, low C, G, C, E. Each time that you repeat it, you always start back on the low C. Getting to that high B flat is going to be quite an advanced move for most of you, but some of you may be able to get it. That was high C, doing the Roy Stevens palming, no pressure system. If you can get up to high C like that, and it was loud, you really have strong chops. You really have strong chops.
Yeah.
You want a half step increase in your range? 7 days, my friends. 7 days. Every day. Pretty cool, huh? So now I want to turn it over to you. So did you learn something? Are you actually going to try this technique? Are you actually going to try it for 7 days? If so, let me know in the comment section. Love to hear from you. Especially if you tried it for 7 days and you got that high range happening. The last word, if you want exclusive tutorials, lessons, and strategies that you can only get here, you gotta go to TrumpetSizzle.com. I have something that's gonna help you get better. Tutorials, lessons, DVDs, practice aids, practice devices, exercises. I'll see you in the next one. Alright, let's go on to some demonstration with some of the other instruments. What if you don't play trumpet? What if you play French horn? So for French horn, I'm going to hold it like this. Let me kind of back up a little bit. I'm going to hold it like this. And just, you can see how I'm holding it with my hands, just palming it. Alright, let's see what we can do with trombone. Alright, here's your phoneme, and I got one hand down here, and I'm not going to grip it. And actually this is a baritone, and I got the other hand like this, so I'm not gripping anything like that. I'm not able to pull it in, and I'm just going to start on a lower note. Now this guy you're probably going to have to get a little bit more innovative with. This is too heavy. What is it, like 25 pounds almost, just to try to do what I did with the baritone, which was pretty light. If you could fashion a way to hang it, or with a little bit of rope from somewhere in your house, that would be great. If you have a tuba stand, I'm going to just maybe try to wing it and do it on my chair. Let's just see what happens. So I'm on a chair here. Now let's just see if I can just work it up, just to show you that this can be done. So it's on the chair. I've got it lean like this, and I'm just going to keep it. I'm going to put my hands up here, so I'm really not going to use any pressure. All right, are the wheels turning right now? So this would actually be better if you had a tuba stand and you just bring your mouth up to it and don't even touch it. But you could see that I was using no pressure, just with the tips of my fingers. If I had to choose one thing to really explode my progress on any brass instrument, especially during this time where we're all kind of stuck at home, you're not at school, you're not in your rehearsals, you're not in your ensembles, I have one thing that I would recommend that you could do right now: the sizzle pull. The sizzle pull. Is the logical evolution of the Pete. For many of you that have, let me get out of the way so you can really see it clearly. There we go, should come into focus a little bit better. For many of you who have the Pete, this is the evolution of the Pete. It does everything that the Pete does and a lot more. It's like the Pete on steroids. It has another, 10, 15, 20 variations that you can use. It's solid metal. It has some cushion beads on it, not to tear up the inside of your mouth. This is the sizzle pull. If you can get this, along with a tutorial for it. If you didn't want to embark on the best, #1 rated amateur improvement program in the world, which is my 16-week brass upper register course, the new revised one, if you're not ready to take on that and tackle that, which actually that's the one that you should really be doing. But if you just wanted to try something that's easy, not going to take a lot of time, but will give you almost instant results over anything else that you could try. I mean, I've looked at everything that is out there, anything that you can buy anywhere. This will do it. The sizzle pull. The sizzle pull. Today, you are going to learn how to play 1/2 step higher on the trumpet in 1 week. This is a trumpet lesson on how to play higher notes on the trumpet. The trumpet technique that I'm going to show you today has really helped me improve my range, actually more than a 1/2 step. But we're going to let you guys experience the 1/2 step increase in range in high notes on your trumpet by using this one amazing technique. And thanks to this one amazing technique that I'm going to show you today, I am able to play extremely well in the upper register of the trumpet. Now I should warn you, I'm not going to be giving you generic, same old advice that you've heard time and time again, maybe even here on YouTube. Definitely if you're a music major, of practicing long tones, practicing the Schlossberg, blah, 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 blah. You already know that, so I'm not going to be talking about that here. I'm going to be giving you this amazing technique that will work in 7 days. You probably already know who I am, but for those of you just watching me for the first time, I'm Kurt Thompson of TrumpetSizzle.com. Let's dive right into this amazing technique. You know, a long time ago I was like you, struggling to increase my range, my accuracy, my power And the real biggie, the endurance, the ability to last an entire rehearsal or performance. And yes, some of it does work. You know, I tried the long tone thing. In fact, I still play long tones. I still do that. But not as a way to really jack up my range. I mean, I tried that. I had trumpet teachers that told me to lip buzz and mouthpiece buzz 45 minutes a day before I even touched the horn. I tried all that stuff. I didn't really get much out of it, folks. And we're just a few days away from St. Patty's Day, so why not tilt the odds in our favor? I got all green on because this is my lucky day, but it's going to be even your luckier day when you get this extra half step in range in 1 week. This is not a joke, this is the real deal for improving higher notes on your trumpet in just 1 week. This is quite cool. You just have to do it. All right, here we go. First, you are going to be taking the trumpet mouthpiece and placing it in the center of your chops the way you normally would. You're going to start off on a relatively easy note. Say, for example, middle C. Now watch carefully. I'm going to repeat middle C going to my left, and this will probably be your right, but I'm going to repeat it several times as I slide the mouthpiece across my chops to my left corner. That's probably your right. Watch. Now bring it back to center and go to the other direction. This way. Crazy, right? Crazy like a fox. Now let's try going up to D. Right in the center, over. Bring it back to the center and head the other direction. Wow! You're probably saying, hey Kurt, what's so amazing about that? You are adding a different stress and a different placement on the chops that you're not used to doing. It's going to throw you for a little bit of a loop. And then watch the range start to happen, my friend. So we did C, we did D, and you want to keep going as high as you can until you're no longer able to go across each direction. Let's fast forward. Let's pretend I'm trying to do this on a G above the staff, which is getting pretty high for this technique. Center. Over. Getting tough. Back center. We're going to go this direction. What's going on with my hat? There we go. What? No. You didn't ask me right now to try this on a high C. It's a crazy, amazing, wild, quirky technique, but on a high C? Huh? What? Ah, what the F. You want to hear it on a high C? It's going to sound horrible. It's going to sound god-awful. Let's try it. Center and to the other way. Woo! It was the green hat. The green, the luck of the Irish. The reason I was able to do this on high C. Now, this technique is an amazing technique, and you will get 1/2 step in 1 week on your trumpet. This has been a trumpet lesson on how to play higher on trumpet, and actually it will work for trombone, tuba, French horn, euphonium, baritone. Now, will this amazing, powerful trumpet technique allow you to do this? Maybe not, maybe so. But you will get the 1/2 step increase in your range on trumpet or any brass instrument. I promise you that in 1 week. So after going through this one amazing technique with me and having observed how to do it, did you learn something new today? Are you going to try this technique? Why wouldn't you try this technique? Well, anyway, if you did learn something new today, make sure to subscribe to my channel, Trumpet Sizzle. It's easy. Just click on that rectangular red button that says subscribe below, right below. Maybe it's right there. It's right there. Just click on it and you'll be automatically subscribed. I'd also hit that bell notification. That way, every time I upload something you might be interested in, you'll get a notification of it right away. And by the way, if you want exclusive training, courses, tutorials, practice aids, exercises, all for brass players, trumpet, tuba, euphonium, baritone, French horn, cornet, flugelhorn, then head on over to TrumpetSizzle.com. TrumpetSizzle.com. Now, I would like to turn it over to you. Are you going to try this amazing, powerful technique to jack your range up in 1 week? 1/2 step? Either way, let me know by leaving a comment below right now. This has been a trumpet lesson video on how to play higher notes on the trumpet, specifically on how to gain 1/2 step in range in 1 week. I'm Kurt Thompson. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, middle C, high C, and double C buzz. And that's the ultimate test in pure embouchure and lip strength. Notice I was doing the real lip buzz. So I wasn't doing the little puff out your thing that 8th graders do. No, I was doing the real lip buzz with an embouchure set, my lips rolled in, like I'm blowing into the horn. So make sure you're comparing apples to apples. What I did was the real lip buzz, free lip buzzing, like you got your embouchure set. So if you do this, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about real free lip buzzing, which requires an enormous amount of embouchure strength. And you can always just about count on the fact that you can buzz a certain note, it's likely you can play about an octave higher than that. Buzz a high C, you can probably play double C. Buzz a middle C, you can probably play high C. Buzz a double C, like I just did, you can probably play a triple C, which is true. So there is a correlation between your lip buzzing and your strength and what you do on the trumpet, what you do on any other brasses, it doesn't really matter, tuba, trombone, whatever. So embouchure strength is the most important thing, the most important aspect of brass playing. Take it away and you really have little left. Little left. You might as well just become a singer. I mean, you really do. You don't have the embouchure strength. You can't play. I don't know. Maybe you can play in the low register, and that's about all you're going to get if you absolutely have no strength here whatsoever. Nothing really is going to happen on the horn. You could be Olympic swimmer with great lungs and air. No embouchure strength, that is going nowhere. So there you have it. And I will continue on with this brass improvement series right here. Hey, today we're going to be talking about chop strength or embouchure strength versus air. And it seems like every other day I'm getting an email from somebody with a counterpoint of view for myself about air. A lot of times you hear me say air is not the main thing that's going to get you your range. and it's not the only thing. And then people think that I don't believe in air at all, and that's not true. But we really need to figure things out. Now, I love Don Jacoby and his stuff. Bill Adams is wonderful. In fact, I do a little bit of his stuff in my 4-month upper register program, the lead pipe buzzing and stuff like that. So, and then the other yoga breathing techniques. But air, my friend, if you work only on air and think that's the holy grail to ultimate endurance and upper register, you're going to fail. That's just the bottom line. And we're going to find out why today. In fact, I'm going to prove that air is not the holy grail to upper register. It really is lip and embouchure strength. And then the second to that would be how you compress your air. So that is a very important part of being in upper register and playing that way, playing clearly in the upper register. So, and I'm not following a script here, I'm just thinking out loud, but you need to see a good up-close demonstration. That's why I have this camera so close. I want you to notice how much air I'm really taking in to be able to get in the upper register. And if you have half a brain, you're going to figure things out that you got to have the chop strength. You got to have the lip strength. Lip strength is a little different than your embouchure, than the muscles that surround here. Don't believe me? Watch some autopsies. It's pretty gruesome, but you're going to see that the musculature of the face right through here, our embouchure, actually is different tissue than what you have right here. And so this is a little something different here that we want to work on to get stronger. You have to have lip strength to withstand the pressure of the air coming out. So yes, you do need to be able to have great air flow and to be able to really compress the air. That's the most important part. So even if you only had one lung, if you had the mechanism set up to really compress that air and everything was synced and coordinated, I'm sure that you could probably still play decently in the upper register and expand your range. I'm confident of that. And let's find out why that is. So I'm going to put the mouthpiece up. First of all, I'm going to see if you can get the feeling of when I take a full breath. So here's a full breath. Okay, so you'll know when I'm taking a full breath. I'm sitting down, so you'll see that I have to do that. Now, if I take a partial breath, I'm not going to take a full breath. And by the way, this video's in lieu of me writing out a big email for my brass techniques improvement series. I'm just basically it's going to be this video, so you're not going to see a long email. This is the next installment in the brass players improvement email series I do on Facebook. So I'll just be watching this and taking notes. So check this out. And I'm going to try to make it clear when I do take a larger breath. So you need to see my lips. Try to get it close. I'm putting the mouthpiece up. I'm going to take about 20% air. Here we go. That's it. That's only 20%, folks. Now, I didn't exactly have the accuracy that I wanted because I didn't have the airstream pushing it forward. But that's pure embouchure strength. Let's do it again. I'm going to take about the same amount of air, about 20%. Here we go. It's only 20. I think I got up maybe around the triple F range, give or take. Wasn't a lot of air there. Now, I will put in a lot more air. So let me take in double that. Let's go up to about 50%. That's about 50. So I'm getting more sound out, and the air that I'm blowing through my chops is more air, more quantity, and it's actually probably a little bit faster, of course. Now, because I'm blowing more air, that's activating all the muscle contraction in here. It's got to still stay sealed on the mouthpiece, otherwise the lips would fly out and you're not going to be able to go up any higher. So anyway, that should be really clear. Let's just take another look at that. Not much air. So here we go. That's a big breath, and let me let it all out. Basically, you saw me playing a double G, that's a double concert F, on the trumpet with virtually no air. Did anybody check that out? I basically had hardly any air. And how loud was it? It came out about MF. So wait a minute. Now let's go back to Don Jacoby, and we can even include Stamps and some of these other guys, Bill Adams, real big proponents. Even my hero Bud Brisbois, real big proponent of his wedge breath. He was the original wedge breath guy. Shoe came after him. Bud Brisbois is the originator of wedge breath breathing, in case you guys didn't know that. And there's actually two versions. The Shoe version, Bobby Shoes, is a little bit different, more applicable to like real-time playing. But Bud Brisbois basically said his way of breathing, this wedge breath, was the reason he could play so high. And tell you the truth, I don't believe that's true. The guy had incredible chops, and I'm pretty confident that even if he had only one lung or wasn't breathing quite as good as he did in the wedge breath that he originated, he could still play very, very well in the upper register. He had a natural setup, and so I think he was trying to explain why he could play so well. Sometimes when players are born with natural leverage and a natural ability to really compress air, they're not quite exactly sure what they're doing. So they look to rationalize how they're able to do it. You can watch Maynard, one of the ultimate talent in upper register. Just look at his face. He had a natural setup. His teeth and everything was just perfect for being able to get the high velocity out to play in the upper register. Now, of course, he had to work. He had to practice, not shortchanging that. But I think at some point he was trying to figure out how he was actually doing it. He had just this ultimate talent. I mean, he had the perfect leverage just built into a system that a lot of us have to work a lot harder to get. And sometimes we don't even get to that level. So you can watch in some of his master classes that he really explains about that he worked a lot on his breathing, and then he leans back. He's really big about bending knees and leaning back. And I'm going to tell you something. And Maynard is also one of my heroes, just along with Bud. But they're trying to explain how they're able to play so easily and well in the upper register when, in fact, they had just like the ultimate amount of talent to be able to do so, a natural setup. I'm confident that you can take in a big gulp of air and practice yoga, lean back, bend your knees, and you're not going to be sounding like Maynard. And you're not going to really get that much upper register. You're going to have to do something to strengthen this area up here in your face. You have to have the strength up here. There's just no question. And what do a lot of people tell you to do? Do long tones, take stuff up an octave, play in the upper register, and really work on your airflow, and you'll get there. Nope, it doesn't cut it. It doesn't cut it. Now, it might for some people who are already predisposed and have the natural great leverage in their face right here, their tongue. Maybe they got if you have a smaller oral cavity and you're using your tongue arch, you really can speed up the air a lot faster. So there's a lot of things that really go into this to making natural leverage. So yes, the people that have gained a lot of range and can excel very well in the upper and extreme upper register of any brass instrument, if they did the long tones, if they really worked on their breathing, if they played stuff up an octave, they might actually just get to where they wanted to be, where everybody wants to be, but mainly because they had already a predisposition for natural leverage and a great compression ability just through their genetics. So the rest of us, you're going to have to really be strategic about getting this strength. And unfortunately, for most of us, not one method and not one technique is going to get you there. In other words, you can't just do Bill Adams' method and get there. It's going to work for some people, but will it work for you or me? I don't know. Claude Gordon, love it. And I actually got something out of it, but is it going to work for you? I've been teaching for a long time, and that Claude Gordon doesn't work for everybody. It works for me, and not ultimately, but it did help me out at one point. So I love the Claude Gordon stuff. Roy Stevens, so palming and all that kind of stuff. Will it work for you? It may. and it may not. Reinhardt, all these other methods that are out there. Cat Anderson is probably the toughest method to actually go through. So there's a whole bunch out there. The only question is, will it work for you? And those methods are successful for some people, but not for everybody. Of course, we already know why it's not successful for everybody. It's just fact. If one method was actually successful at producing gorgeous high notes and upper register abilities and endurance, then we would all only use that one method. Think about it. Let's use our brain here. If one method was that successful, you wouldn't be listening to this right now, and I wouldn't be talking about it. Everybody could just do it. So the fact of the matter is, not one method is perfect for everybody. As a result, that's the whole nature of my 4-month upper register course. There's 65 techniques, and these techniques come from every method you can think of. The bulk of it are actually my techniques, and I include a lot of breathing for compression and some other stuff. So you have to take the macro approach to really building the strength. We don't know which particular technique is going to do it for you. I'm confident that out of 65, 5 or 10 are definitely going to be the magic bullet for you. But what's the magic bullet for you? Don't know. And whatever it is, it won't be the same for me or the same for the next guy or gal. So you really have to use your intelligence here if you want to improve your upper register. And keep in mind, I don't care what instrument you play. I don't care if you're a college professor or you're a comeback player or you're a hobbyist or you're a pro player, whatever. It doesn't really matter. What matters is you have to keep improving your range. You can't be settled on your range, wherever it is at today, because the more range you have, what happens? Even if you don't want to play double Cs, classical guys out there, if you can play a double C, what happens here? Boom. The pressure comes off your lips when you're playing in the tessitura that you normally play in, whether it's middle C up to maybe E's. So you don't have to have the desire to play double Cs. It's just if you can play them in your practice, the pressure comes off here. You get a better sound, a bigger sound, and a lot more endurance. So let's take one more look, and then I'm going to wrap it up here. Really, the air is important. And to compress the air, you really have to arch the tongue in your mouth up, like you're saying in or E or T. Your tongue's actually like this. That is doing the arch. Like that. And you're blowing the air from the back of your throat up and over the tongue, and it comes out the aperture. Now that's great. We got to have that air. But if you don't have the super strong embouchure, chops, and the lip able to contract and hold that air into the mouthpiece, all the air is just going to be useless for you. And that's this brass improvement email series. Hope you get a lot out of it. You're seeing a real good close-up of me, maybe too close. Let's take another look at the mouthpiece. So I'm putting the mouthpiece right on my chops and take a small amount of air. Okay? Not a whole lot of pressure there, really. And that was probably about 30% of my air capacity. That should prove a point. It should really prove a point that, yes, work on your air, but you need to focus a lot more on how to get this going here. And let me just leave you with this. If you're pounding away and banging your head at one method, and you keep wondering why it doesn't work, but you know it should work because it works for everybody else, well, that's erroneous thinking right there. You really need to take the shotgun approach. I'm here to tell you, you got to take the shotgun approach, the macro point of view, when it comes to really increasing your strength in your face, your lips, and everything else. You just got to do it. Otherwise, you're going to be one of those guys that sticks with a method because you don't want to, I guess, admit that you made the wrong decision. You'll stick with that method for all your life, and you'll always have problems in the upper register. So, use your intelligence. Think about things in an intelligent way. And I'm Kurt Thompson. Hope this made a little sense to you. And today's date, by the way, happens to be March 7th, 2013. Take care. about trumpet high notes, trumpet lessons, and trumpet mouthpieces. Now, a lot of people think that if you can play high, it's because you're playing on a shallow mouthpiece. In fact, a lot of people that are unable to play high, when they hear someone play high, will say that they're using a cheater mouthpiece or a shallow mouthpiece to be able to get those notes. That's not necessarily so. There's the right tool for the job. So what I wanted to point out today, I want to dispel a couple of myths. I do happen to play on a shallower mouthpiece. It is a Neil Sander 17S. But is this the only reason why I'm able to play high? Is it the only reason why other trumpet players who are quite adept in the upper register of the trumpet, their mouthpiece, is it the only reason why they can play high? I don't think so. I think that you have to practice the right techniques in the right way for the right amount of time to be able to get your upper register the way you want it. Now, I wanted to go through a couple of mouthpieces that are quite common. Let's pull out, this is the Bach 1.5C. And I'll see if I can get it up there in the camera for you, so you know that I'm really showing you the real deal. Probably can't really see it. Let's see if I can turn it a little bit. There we go. Take my word for it, that's a Bach 1.5C. Now it's a little bit cold. Now, according to a lot of people who can't play high, I shouldn't be able to hit a double C on this one. Now I will tell you that the mouthpiece I play on it for a reason. I like the sound I get, I like the tone, I like the accuracy, I like the volume I get out of it. Otherwise I could just play on any mouthpiece, right? So this one here will probably not sound as good to me and have the projection and some of the other qualities that I love in my Neil Sanders, but will I be able to play a double C on this one like I do on mine? If the people who can't play high that put out this myth that you can only play high with a cheater mouthpiece are right, then I should not be able to play much, maybe beyond a high C on this one. So let's find out. This is a Bach Bach 1.5 C. Now I'll just play a middle C here. No problems there. Does seem a little bit harder than mine. Whoa, wait a minute. That was a double C. It was on a Bach 1.5 C mouthpiece. Well, it looks like I just broke that myth that you have to be able to use a cheater mouthpiece to be able to play high. Now there's a lot of people that play on this one, a lot of symphonic players that poo-poo high notes, so they play on this one. They don't really have to play much more than a high C or a high D in their symphonic and orchestral works, even the professional trumpet players I'm talking about in major symphony orchestras. This is one of their favorite mouthpieces right here. Would I use this on a regular job or a gig for playing Maynard stuff, playing lead? No, I wouldn't, because this makes life more difficult. But you heard it right here, folks. I played a double C on this Bach 1.5 mouthpiece. See if I can show you it again. Well, before I put this one away, I got a couple other ones to show you. Let me put it right back in. This is the Bach 1.5 C mouthpiece. I'll put it right back in my horn. Let's just see if that was a fluke. Maybe it's a one-time fluke and I won't be able to get it again. Nope, it wasn't a fluke. I am able to play high on a Bach 1.5 mouthpiece. Let's set that one aside. Now, what is the most common trumpet mouthpiece in all the world? If you answered a 7C, you are correct. I'm going to see what happens when we get out the 7C. Now watch this video carefully because this is all uncut. There's the 7C. Can everybody see it? I'm going to leave it in the video. I'm coming back around. Coming back around, there's no cutting or editing. Here's the box 7C. This is what you get typically when you buy a new horn. Typically what beginners play on it. Very few professionals play on a 7C. There might be 1 out of 1,000 that would play on a 7C. Well, let me try it. Now, supposedly, I shouldn't be able to play on high on this one either, right? It's a 7C mouthpiece, not a cheater mouthpiece, not a lead mouthpiece. Let's see what happens. Now, if you watch the video, I've been going on continuously there, so there's been no monkey business. It's still on my horn. It's cold. Try to double C there. Well, lo and behold, I'm able to get a double C on this 7C mouthpiece. Shouldn't be able to do that, should I? According to the people who can't play high and who use typically the larger mouthpieces, I shouldn't be able to play high on that, should I? Okay, so I played on a Bach 1.5C, played a double C. I played on a Bach 7C, played a double C. Let's get out just a couple more. This one here. This is a Bach 10.5C. Now this is the mouthpiece that a lot of classical players who really can't play high will actually use in their piccolo. See if I can show it to you. Sorry, it's not coming in clear. There you go. You can see it's there. That's the Bach 10.5C. I'll leave it in the frame so you can see me put it right on my horn. This is the one that a lot of classical players, professional, principal, symphonic players all across the country, the major metropolitan symphony orchestras will pop this in when they got to play something high, or they'll put it in their piccolo. Then they go back to their 1.5C. They'll put the Bach 10.5C in. It's cold. Let me warm it up. Middle C. High C. Double C. I'm going to pull right on my horn. You saw exactly what I was playing on. This is no trick photography here. It's a Bach 10.5C. Oh, what is this? This is a Bach 12. Bach 12C. We'll try that one. I've actually never played on a 12C before. I borrowed a couple of these mouthpieces just for this demonstration. Bach 12C, I have no idea how I'd play this one. It is probably a little bit more smaller than the 10.5C, I'm guessing. Middle C. High C. Double C on a Bach 12C. Okay, last one. I thought it would be kind of funny. French horn mouthpiece. You know, I have no clue what I'm going to get on this thing. You can see it's a huge, huge, deep cup. French horn mouthpiece. What is it here? It's 11. It's a Vincent Bach 11 French horn mouthpiece. So I still have it here. Let me put it in my horn. Of course, you know, it won't fit properly, but it's in there. Let's just see what I give this. It's not going to sound pretty. It's going to be out of tune. Probably swim around. But it's a French horn mouthpiece. I really shouldn't be able to play too high on it. Most French horn players can't play too high, so let's see what will happen. Definitely a different tone. A lot warmer. High C now. Real muffled. It's probably going to be very difficult to get the double C out. You heard it right there. Got a double C on a French horn mouthpiece in my trumpet. So, let's go back to my mouthpiece. Neil Sanders, 17S. There you go, you can kind of see it there. There we go. Neil Sanders. You can tell it's beat up. This is the very mouthpiece that I played Gabriel, Maynard Ferguson's Gabriel on quite a number of years ago. So if you happen to see my video doing that one, or hear it somewhere. This is the same mouthpiece I used for that one. Now let's go back. You're going to notice that I can, of course, still play the high note. It's just going to have more of a punch, more power. That's your middle C. Here's your high C. Love it the way it comes out. You notice that in all these mouthpieces I was able to hit the double C. All of us have different dental structure, different facial features up here, and therefore what works for somebody, for example, this works for me, might not work for you. And that's why I would definitely recommend, and I recommend all my students to spend some time going through different mouthpieces and making sure that mouthpiece is appropriate for what you do. This mouthpiece may not be the perfect mouthpiece for a symphonic player, but it shouldn't be the reason a symphonic player would say that they can't play high because they need a cheater mouthpiece. I've just broken that myth right here. You heard me play a double C on a Bach 1.5 mouthpiece. You've heard me play, that's a 1.5 C mouthpiece. You heard me play a double C on a Bach 7 C mouthpiece. That's the standard mouthpiece that every little kid gets when they take their horn right out of the case for the first time. So what can we learn from this? You, first of all, need to be taking lessons from someone like myself, or you got to take lessons from somebody who already can do what you want to do. That's number one. Number two, put the notion of mouthpieces allowing you to play high out of your head and actually do the real trumpet work. What does that mean? You actually got to practice. And you got to practice the right stuff in the right amounts. That's what we learned today. You don't need a cheater mouthpiece to play high. You should be able to play high on any mouthpiece you pick up. I just proved it here. You know, I want you to go to TrumpetSizzle.com. That's www.TrumpetSizzle.com. I have an array of trumpet video lessons. My main job is teaching trumpet from beginners all the way up to advanced and professionals. Yes, I do have a couple of professionals from time to time that come in that want to learn how to improve their range. Always remember, it takes about 5,000 hours of concentrated practice from beginning, whether you started in 5th grade or if you're starting as an adult, doesn't matter, log those hours in. It takes about 5,000 hours just to reach the very bottom of the professional caliber trumpet player. So if you're wondering where you're at or why you're not where you want to be, think about how many hours you've logged in since you began playing. And if it's not 5,000, chances are you need to put in some more practice time. And, I'll repeat it again, you got to get with the right teacher. In fact, let me just bring that up before we close it. You know, if you go to Google and you type in trumpet lessons, you're going to see quite a variety of people on there, including myself. I come on page 2 right now. I'm trying to get on page 1. But you want to get with a trumpet instructor who not only can tell you how to play high, show you how to play high, but actually has been out there in front of an audience with different bands playing upper register trumpet music. Anyway, what I've noticed is that a lot of these trumpet players that you're going to find that pop up on Google on page 1 right away, if you try to search their name and find out what they've done, what they played, some of them you can't even find a live video of them playing. But their marketing is really good. So I would just caution you that as you're looking for someone to help you out with your trumpet lessons and improving high range and everything else, you want to get with somebody who can actually play the trumpet, play the way you want to play, and has actually proved it with bands and other live audiences. Go to TrumpetSizzle.com. See you there. cannot play high. Well, I just demonstrated one of them. This, the meat, the muscle, right? But you already knew that, right? Yeah. You know you got to have chops. You got to build this. Everything. All these muscles, everything. It's all got to be built up strong. So you know that one, but maybe you didn't. Maybe you thought it was talent. Okay? A lot of people think it's just talent. Can't play high. I was just born to play third chair. Just the way it is. Don't get mad about it. Don't beat yourself up over it. You just weren't born with the talent to be able to play high. Actually, some people feel that way. But that is 100% wrong. 100% incorrect. That's your belief system, but it's not reality. Your belief system, but not reality. So the top reason that you can't play high is you haven't gone through the process of training this and the whole mechanism from diaphragm to here to out to the horn. You haven't gone through that process. Now you can look at video, YouTube after YouTube. In fact, I just crossed over the 600 mark on my YouTube channel. Videos available to the public. You can watch them all. You're not going to get that miraculous improvement in range and endurance just by watching videos, even though I'm giving you some good advice and others are giving you good advice. You have to go through the process. The process is systematically applying so many different angles at your chops, your breathing, your tongue, strategically over a period of time, infused with momentum. That's what the process is. And you're not likely to have gone through that process if you're watching this video, or maybe you're just watching it just for giggles. But you have to go through the process. It seems like a lot of teachers that can actually play decently high are not taking their students through the process. And as a result, the students don't end up playing as well as the teacher, and they don't even make that much improvement. It's about the process, not about one or two techniques or a routine that you're going to do. About the process. So, if you watch my stuff, you will get better, and you are certainly going to play a little bit higher, a little bit better, a bigger sound, a bigger tone, more accuracy, better endurance, yes. But you're not going to get that miracle, amazing, oh my God, I was playing high C's and D's a few months ago, and now I'm zinging out double high G's. Now I can actually do some Broadway shows if I wanted. No, you're not going to get that by watching just individual random videos on how to play trumpet better from anybody. You have to go through the process. I happen to know what that process is, by the way. And according to most of the people that have been working with me, it seems like they know it now too, and they can demonstrate it. So let's go on to number 2, where the second top reason that you can't play high. That. Tongue and tongue arch. Now, you can still play high without the tongue arch. I'm going to play high right now, leaving my tongue dropped in a low C positioning. And now it's not going to sound good at all. Okay? How am I able to still get up there even though it sucked? I had the chops. But having the chops is one part of the equation. If you don't have the tongue arch, my friend, you can have the range. F, G, weak, kind of brittle sounding, stiff sounding, not that powerful, but I can get those notes. That proves to you right there that if you're still not doing some things right, that you can still gain some altitude just by developing your chops, but that's not going to be the panacea and what you're thinking about as an end result of how you want to play. So the tongue arch, the less space you have in your mouth when the air is coming out, you're going to zing out higher notes because the air is going to be speeding past the lips, vibrating them faster, vibrating the air that goes into here, coming out here is going to all be faster. Okay. So how do we do that? It's the tongue arch. And it's kind of one of the most elusive techniques on the trumpet. It really is. I get people that can actually play pretty decently up to high C, D, even E, and they're not using tongue arch, but they're so used to not using tongue arch that they can actually play sometimes at the professional level or as a professional in a symphony. It's quite amazing how they can do that. They're making things in life very, very hard by doing that, but yet they've accommodated not knowing about the tongue arch or not being able to do it. So what if you had a screwed up embouchure, or what if you thought you didn't play correctly? Well, here's my natural setting. What if I played poorly? Let's move the mouthpiece over a little bit. There we go, see it? I'm way off my embouchure. In fact, I'm over. What about the other way? Well, now I'm back to center. Move it over. Now I'm really playing not where I want to play. I can still do it, but it sucked that on that one side compared to the other. So I've showed you that with no tongue arch, I can still play high. Playing on a totally screwed up embouchure, one side to the other like that, I can still play some, actually into the upper register above high C. So it's the tongue arch. Tongue arch. So quit looking at whether or not you got a bad embouchure, a defective embouchure, whether or not you think that you're playing a little off center and your teacher's on you for that. Or you play too high, play too low. You can work on that stuff later, but that's not your problem. The problem is tongue arch, especially if you've got the other part handled, the musculature, the embouchure, and the strength. But a lot of people don't got that handled either. But it's the tongue arch. With the tongue arch, you can do quite amazing things. So if you can play high B flats, B's, and C's with the perfectly executed and advanced tongue arch, that those high C's automatically turn into E's and F's with no change in the musculature and the strengthening of the embouchure here. Tongue arch works wonders. That's the second reason that you can't play and if it's the second reason, or it's the second place why almost all brass players can't get altitude and can't have good endurance. It seems to be mystical and ambiguous, foggy, murky, unclear what the tongue arch really is. But basically, if you can take the tip of your tongue, that's the tip. Take it and put it under, behind your teeth, your lower teeth. Here's upper, lower. Take the tip, go down, anchor it. I have the tip anchored right at the bottom of my lower teeth, where the teeth kind of almost turn into the gums, right at that gum line, or you run out of teeth, and you can feel the wet gum. That's where you anchor the tip of your tongue. Yeah. And then the tongue arches up. Like you're saying in, or E-I-N-G, swimming. Yeah. So that's when you're at maximum tongue arch. And here's a good test for you. I made another tutorial about this, but it was kind of shorter. So you can try this on different things. Here's me going from second line G to C on purpose. Okay? Okay, you're seeing movement here. I'm also adding a little extra tension when I'm going up to give it push. The way to really get the feeling of tongue arch, so it's not theory, it's actually something real that you're doing, is to purposely try not to get the top note, yet raise your tongue in an arch position. So right now I'm going to take a big breath and I'm going to hold a G, but during that time what's happening inside my mouth is this. My tongue is arching up. You already know that tip is placed behind my teeth. So it's going here, up. And I'm purposely going to try not to get the C. Watch what happens. Hear that? Of course it didn't sound good, but I'm purposely trying not to get the C. I don't want the C to come out. Watch again. Again. You notice no movement going on here at all, right? And I'm really trying not to let the C to come out. That's your assignment. If you can get that to happen, you've executed the tongue arch quite perfectly. Now, it doesn't stop there. The tongue has to be developed, and you have to be able to hold the tongue arch under a lot of undue pressure when you're above high C. That pressure will flatten down your tongue, and your range will drop. Not because you don't have chops, because you're not maintaining the tongue arch. So the tongue arch, you got to get it, but then you have to develop it to withstand the pressure that will be inside your oral cavity when you're really playing in upper register and beyond. Your tongue arch drops just a micromillimeter and you've lost 2 notes on your range, just like that. That's how easy it is. So watch, let's try it on a different note. Low C. I'm trying to do that, right? You can tell. What if I take a big breath and purposely stay on that low C? Don't let that G come out. Take a bigger breath this time. The first one came out air because I didn't have any air left. Even low C to G, which is a wider interval, isn't it? It's another note wider, so you're going to fifth. Now a lot more air is coming out on low C than it is on G because you have the placement of your jaw and your tongue even lower. But still, you could hear that something was happening. In fact, the air started to cut off. On that first one, did you hear that? It was almost no air. I mean, it was just air coming out. But the low C would not come out. So don't think that was a mistake. The low C would not come out anymore. Let me just see if I can go for the air again because that was pretty important. I'm raising the tongue up to the point where the low C will not vibrate anymore. Well, now that time the note came out. No, hold on, let me try it again. Trying to keep the low C down, but I'm raising my tongue into a tongue arch. No, it's not going to do it this time. I guess it was kind of a fluke, but still, that was important to realize I'm trying to play the low C, which even beginners can get. So you know something was going on inside here. I mean, if I can't play the low C, something really is bad, and something bad's going to happen. Maybe the end of the world tonight. I can't play a low C, and if you can't play a low C, it's probably the same thing. Now, if I'm playing a low C and I do something inside my mouth that causes the low C not to come out, you know I'm doing something. You know something is going on. You just have to know that. So I was probably speeding up the air too fast for the low C to come out, and it was in the little twilight zone area right before the G was going to snap out. So I'm not even sure if I've even tried this on C to E. Now, I'm thinking that as you get more narrow in intervals, that's probably going to come out easier. So I'm not sure if this will be the best demonstration or not. Let's find out. So middle C to E. Oh, normally. Now, I'm going to try to keep it at middle C and not let the E to come out. Oh no, okay, it gets easier as you go higher, actually. Yeah, okay, so that's why I was experiencing that error at the low C to G. So this demonstration is actually perfect for you at G to C. And if you do have a range up to about an A to a high C, you might want to try it from middle C to E because it's actually easier. But it might be so easy that you don't really get the feeling of it. So you've heard me do 3 different ones. G to C is commonly what I show students. Low C to G is going to be harder, and C to E is going to be easier. So you got 3 different intervals that you can slur to using the tongue arch. And remember, you're trying not to let the top note come out. You're trying not to let the top note come out. That's what you're trying to do. But you're arching up, you're trying to arch the tongue as high as it will arch, but with the goal of not getting that top note. Because if you have the goal to get the top note, then you might add a little bit more pressure here. You might blow harder. You're going to be doing some things unconsciously that you've just already trained yourself to do to get the note to come out. That's why it's important to really, it might go against your ego, but really do not let that top note come out. Just keep arching the note up and hope it doesn't come out. And when the top note does come out, if it does for you, then you know that you've got the tongue arch decently perfected, but just not strengthened. I mean, the tongue arch, you either get it or you don't, right? There's not really a gray area. You got it perfected, you can do it, or you don't have it at all. There's not really a middle ground. You either got it or you don't. After that point, it's about developing your tongue and the tongue arch to really be refined and just amazingly versatile when you're playing. That's where I come in. Have you ever heard that I got a website called TrumpetSizzler.com, and then I teach a lot of people, especially a lot of advanced and professional players that want to get better with endurance and range? Well, if you haven't heard about it, you're just hearing it now. I actually do that. That's kind of actually what I'm good at. And I'm good at some other things too, but I kind of have this natural knack for helping people out with that. So if you'd like to learn more, you can definitely look at more videos here. And if you're watching this, why not go ahead and subscribe? You can support me. You're going to get an instant email when I put up new videos like this. And I don't know, I think that you're going to learn something and become a better player. But if you really want to take the horse by the reins and run with it, you got to do something, and that's called going through the process, which I alluded to earlier in the video. So, but this tutorial on tongue arch should help you. And now if you're not getting the note to come out at all, even though you're trying not to, but it still doesn't come out, that's where, again, you need a coach, you need someone to work with you on that, because that is the second reason you're not able to play high, play with power up the upper register, or even have great endurance. If you're constantly playing in a low C position in the upper register, you're gassing out all the muscles here. You're just putting such a load on them, and that's why you don't have any endurance. So you might even have a little range where you have no endurance. You got to get the tongue arch. It's the second reason people have problems in the upper register and with endurance. Since you've already heard me say that, it's a no-brainer. Work on it. Get it going. It's worth the investment in time. So that's a wrap. Hey guys and gals, I've been using a cool little tip, shortcut. Again, this is not a substitute for the process or for enrolling in lessons, and specifically we're enrolling in some of my pedagogical specific courses like upper register, technique, lead trumpet playing, breathing. But I have found that this is a very potent and quick results producing technique. And I call it the frozen lip bend. I've scoured Google, YouTube, even that crappy little site called Vimeo. No, there's nobody else that has come up with this, so the date of this video will be the copyright for this particular technique. It's the frozen lip bend. We could almost call it deep frozen lip bends. And so you've seen people demonstrate lip bends almost in a half-step fashion, and it looks impressive. They're doing things like right. Well, that wasn't a lip bend. Okay. I was doing that in 9th grade, folks. I mean, come on. So when you see someone, a pro that's screwing around, lip bending like that, that's kindergarten stuff. You want to go up to the heavyweight league with the big boys, then you do deep lip bends on any brass instrument. Not this little half-step bullshit jargon that's not going to get you anything. So here we go. I like to play the F sharp in the G progression down. So play the F sharp. Now no valve. Soft and increase dynamics. Control, baby, back it off. Okay, now that is the half-step lip bend that you hear all the time, except that was a frozen lip bend, not quite deep, but now it's going to get deeper. Now let's go to something that you don't hear anybody doing unless you've watched another of my tutorials on lip bending. We're going to go down to F natural, which is going to be the whole step below G. Control that baby all the way back to triple pianissimo, baby. All right, this is the big boy league, and you might not even be able to do what I just did, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't do it with a little bit of practice with trying this. This takes incredible, resilient, flexible, strong, powerful chops to be able to accommodate what I'm showing you now with this technique, the deep frozen lip bend. Let's go even deeper. Now, you'd never hear anybody, I haven't heard anybody lip bend down to an E in this part of the range of the horn of the trumpet. So G to, now we're going down a minor third. Lift the belt up. Incredible amount of control there and finesse to be able to accommodate that. You have a favorite celebrity trumpet player, and if you're friends with them, ask them to do what I'm doing. The odds are very considerable and stacked against them that they won't be able to do that. So well, now we're going to get into the extreme minority of all professional. Actually, this is not even professional. This is way above professional level of playing. And you have to have worked considerably on the physical aspects of brass playing to be able to accommodate this, to go down a major third and control it. So G down to E flat. Down to quadruple piano, ladies and gentlemen. Again, quite an exhibition in resiliency, malleability, flexibility, powerful. What other kind of adjectives can I come up with this? It's just, you really have to have excelled way above the typical professional commercial or orchestral player to be able to do this. But with this technique, you can. It's not going to happen overnight. But what is going to happen is as you keep working on this, you're going to notice that your sound opens up. Your flexibility just becomes like a hot knife through butter as you go through all registers of the horn, and the facility of the horn is just going to be a piece of cake. Of course, your range is going to improve. I think that this would be especially good for orchestral players because I have a feeling that you're going to be able to open up and get that more brassy resonance on the mid and lower middle register of the horn, which is where a lot of this orchestral music is played, especially if you're not principal trumpet. So this could be very beneficial if you totally don't like the commercial and jazz idiom of playing and you're more into the classical. This could really benefit you in this particular register. Now let's go to no man's land. We're going to go down to perfect fourth. Man, this is like super deep. This is like the 12-foot deep into the pool where the high dive is. So here we go. Very difficult. In fact, you even heard me falter a little bit. I'm not perfect. I'm close to perfect, but not. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Well, when it comes to looks, yeah, that's been pretty close. But when it comes to playing, yeah, I have my problems. It's just like everybody else. So I guarantee you, most of you are not going to be able to do that, but you do not need to be depressed because you can start just on the F sharp in this progression down from middle G, second line middle G for trumpets. Everybody else you can transpose to the notes in your instrument. That would be practical. I've just thrown it out here. For example, probably for trombone, I probably would be playing first position F. That's fourth line F in the bass clef staff. For trombone people, I would probably start right there, first position, and then of course you're going to have to bend it down without moving the slide, right? So you're going to find it very, very difficult. But that's just an example if you're playing another brass instrument. Now let's go for the quintessential granddaddy gold medal Olympic winner. Yeah, if you can get this one and control it, and I gotta be honest with you, sometimes and some days I can't get this one. That's how difficult it is. But that would be going down the tritone from G down to C sharp, D flat, and harmonic. This is almost a nightmare to try to do on a regular basis and be consistent, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot right now. So we're playing our G down to D flat. Oh, almost didn't get it. Folks, that was rough and tough and tumble. If you can do that and control it, you just certainly have to have chops. I would almost bet without hearing you playing anything else that you probably have a good core to your sound, amazing dynamics in all registers, and just great facility all over the horn, whatever brass instrument it is. So this was Kurt Thompson with another amazing proprietary and unique tip, trick, and technique for brass players that you've never heard before, and the date of this video will be its copyright. No one else has done the deep frozen lip bend. Try it, you'll like it, comment below. I'll see you in the next one. I've been kind of messing around doing the palming Dr. Charles Cullen lip slurs and lip trills, and I've been finding it quite tough. I mean, you can't use any mouthpiece pressure. So I'll just give you an example. You do the horn here, it's palmed. So you make your hand. Now, French horn players, you'll probably have to do this. Trombone players, maybe also. Baritone players, I'm not exactly sure how you would do that unless you could put your, like, you know how a tuba will put their tuba in a big tuba stand. And if you put the tuba in the stand and you just went up to it with the mouthpiece like that, that would be almost the equivalent. So if you could put your euphonium or baritone in some kind of a stand, then you could probably get the technique we're after here. So you make your hand like a shelf, and I would just kind of mess around doing some lip trill, just seeing where I was at. As you've heard in other past tutorials, I've been able to, lip trill pretty decently up to triple G's, but that was using a tremendous amount of mouthpiece pressure at the very end, so that was pretty tough for me. But here I am. I'm going to just do it this way so you can see. That's C to E, easy. Obviously that's E to G, G to B flat, B flat to C, okay, so that was B flat to high C. Now, also I'm doing these rather loud. I would say that was just pushing probably forte. You're not going to get too much out of your lip trills in the Charles Conan book if you're playing them pianissimo or piano. I recommend all my students that were at least at the MF mark. MF to F is good. Probably fortissimo is not good. You're going to be blowing so loud, you're going to be defeating the purpose of the technique. So keep these around MF to F. So that was a B flat to high C. So palming. Now look how I got it. I don't know if you can see. I'm only using the weight of the horn, and I'm not doing this. I'm not grabbing and pulling. There we go. Let's try to go a little higher. That was C to D. D to E. So this will probably come out flat. And then, geez, I don't even know if I can make this last one. I can't get the G to lock in, but I will get it. So I was going for the trill from F to double G. I think it kind of came out. It got a little bit weak. Let's see if I can get it again. Whew, barely. So I ended up on a double G. Now, folks, I'm probably making that look too easy, so I want you to try it. And why would I say I'm making it look too easy? Well, one of the techniques in my course does kind of focus on the Roy Stevens, William Costello, no pressure system palming. Now, we're not doing it exactly as Roy would have had his students do, because I'm not doing the whole gap in the teeth thing and the forward jaw and the upstream type of embouchure that is the Stevens embouchure. So we're not really doing that, but we're actually doing the physical exercise to kind of strengthen up our chops. So the reason I mentioned that might have looked too easy is because when people come into my course, a lot of people have trouble just doing this. Just going to the E. Now that's just a slur going up. I would say more than half the people getting in my course cannot do what I just did there. That was simply going up to a high G. Low C, G, C, E, G. And to go up the next one, now we're going to whittle out almost all people that start my course. That's the B flat. I might, if I had 10 people start my course over the last quarter, maybe 2 would be able to do what I just did there. And then finally, had 10 people start my course over the live course now, the one that they're seeing me every week live, either via Skype or on the phone. Maybe one would be able to do what I just did right there. And that's just a maybe. So take this technique to heart in this drill, and it's a good challenge. I mean, we're all brass players, and it seems like brass players, and especially trumpet players, like a good challenge in the competition and to challenge ourselves. And wow, can you think of a better challenge than this? Yeah, because I mean, come on. If I got on normally, I mean, what the hell? I just did that lip trill from double C to double D, and if I warmed up a little bit more, I know it can go another 3 or 4 steps higher because I'm playing normally and got the right pressure that I want. So this shows you. You saw that I kind of thinned out going up to that double G, lip trilling it. So if I can go an octave higher playing normally, there's something to this technique, and I highly recommend that you start playing around and challenging yourself. Think outside the box. Use your brain. You have to constantly keep moving upwards and expanding everything and advancing your horn. It doesn't stop. It hasn't stopped with me. I'm still looking at areas. Right now I'm looking at the jazz area. Although I feel like for a guy that's, you know, done it for, I'm not even really seriously doing it, but I am looking at it. I am doing some different things with the jazz and jazz improvisation. And I feel like the little effort and input that I've done has actually got me, a couple of spots upwards. So now, do I really have to do all the jazz? No, because I have classical skills and commercial skills that tend to put me ahead of the pack and make me stand out. But I'm not satisfied with that because I want to keep expanding, keep improving. And so I'm looking at the jazz as kind of a last frontier for me. And I've been noticing when I've just been kind of fooling around playing with some of the legends of jazz, the living legends, it's at the point now where I feel like I'm kind of hanging in there with them. I mean, just on some of the recordings, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm able to hang in there with these guys. And jazz is definitely not my forte now. Who knows? Maybe down the road it will be. So the whole idea is you keep trying different things and experimenting and adding different things to your regimen to keep improving. What is the opposite of that? The opposite of that would be to, for 30 years, pull out your Claude Gordon book and be doing this. On and on and up. I mean, if you're doing that for 30 years and you're doing nothing else, I can guarantee you just aren't that far along, my friend. Be smart. I'm Kurt Thompson at TrumpetSizzle.com, and here on YouTube, you're a brass instructor. I'm a professional trumpet player and teacher, and I want to ask you a question. Would you like to learn how to skyrocket your range, improve your endurance, and reduce mouthpiece pressure? At the very least, you should discover that improving range and endurance is a process. It is not one book you're going to read, not one ebook. It's not one lesson you're going to take with a celebrity trumpet player. It is a process that you will have to go through. If you're willing to go through this process, I can almost guarantee that you will get fantastic results on this instrument or any brass instrument. And for right now, I would just like for you to subscribe to my channel. Look down below and click the subscribe link. I would love to have you as a subscriber on my channel, Your Brass Instructor. I'm Kurt Thompson. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, this tutorial deals with rolling, something that is confusing a lot of people out there. So let's just be clear on what this is. In fact, here's an exercise that you can practice. Doesn't really matter if you play tuba or French horn or trumpet or trombone. You want to be able to make your lips disappear. Okay. That's a double C roll-in position. I did a tutorial going over this, but I'm just doing it again. Practice. This is a technique. Just practice rolling your lips in. If you can't do that, you're not going to be able to play in the upper register that well or with a lot of ease. You got to be able to roll in. Teeth are shut. Don't be confused and think that you're doing this. That the lip is over the teeth. And here too. No, we're right here. See, teeth were shut. They're open for me to roll in. Open, roll in. Now they're over the teeth. I shut the teeth. So, a technique for you that would be of value is to make sure you get the roll in. And if you can't do it this way, you're not going to be able to do it on the horn in real time. So this is kind of a bike with training wheels right now. You're not using the horn, you're just practicing the roll in. Double C, that's a double C rolling right there. High C probably would be, well, for me anyway, would be probably high C. Double C. Hope you enjoyed this close-up of my lips. I'm Kurt Thompson at TrumpetSizzle.com, and here on YouTube, you're a brass instructor. I'm a professional trumpet player and teacher, and I want to ask you a question. Would you like to learn how to skyrocket your range, improve your endurance, and reduce mouthpiece pressure? At the very least, you should discover that improving range and endurance is a process. It is not one book you're going to read, not one ebook. It's not one lesson you're going to take with a celebrity trumpet player. It is a process that you will have to go through. If you're willing to go through this process, I can almost guarantee that you will get fantastic results on this instrument or any brass instrument. And for right now, I would just like for you to subscribe to my channel. Look down below and click the subscribe link. I would love to have you as a subscriber on my channel, Your Brass Instructor. I'm Kurt Thompson. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, one of my students, Tom Granoff, told me about a master class that he went to quite a long time ago where Bobby Shue came in, talked about his breathing techniques like the wedge breath and all that, and then picked up the trumpet by a second valve and played a few high notes that were pretty meaty. And so I thought I would try to see if I can demonstrate the Bobby Shue. I would just call this probably the Bobby Shue no pressure high note test. So you can do this after you watch this. You can try it right out if you're in a practice room. So what I was told by Tom is that I guess Bobby just grabbed the middle valve like that and proceeded to play a couple. My valve's starting to unwind. Proceeded to play a couple of notes. So I'm going to try it here. Just a couple of notes. G. So that was a pretty loud double G just by doing the Bobby Shue method of holding on to the middle valve. Even though I was trying to pull in, you really can't pull in too much, folks, as opposed to when you got, both arms grabbing and pulling in. So you got just your fingers holding on to this. Part of it's holding the weight of the horn from dropping. So anyway, that's the Bobby Shue no pressure high note test. You saw it here probably for the first time because I just found out about it from Tom Granoff. Thanks, Tom. Thanks again for watching this video. I hope that you got something out of it. Sometimes I make a video just to make you laugh. A lot of times I make a video to educate you on something and maybe even help solve a problem. So I hope something like that occurred for you in this video. And while you're at it, again, subscribe, click on my website link, and go on to the next video. It's lovely out here. Have a great day. This exercise is meant to increase your endurance, I mean, in a huge amount, and your range, and you have to actually work. And that's one thing a lot of you are not willing to do. So what you're going to see is me doing the Cat Anderson whisper quiet middle C for 5 minutes. Trust me. You do that for 30 days in a row and you're going to notice something big time happens to your endurance, and you'll probably get a half step pop in your range. That's not a bad trade-off for doing your 5 minutes of practice a day. So let's see if we can put this. Hold on, I got to fix the phone here first. Yeah, so I have this set at 5 minutes. I was just trying to adjust the screen so it won't go off. And this was set at like 30 seconds just to go to sleep. So let's do it for 5 minutes. In fact, once you know what I'm doing, why don't you get out your horn and go right along with me, and let's kick some butt together. Okay? So let's start the countdown. By the way, if this note sounds pretty on your horn, you are doing it the wrong way, my friend. Listen to how I do it. This note does not lock in, and the closing your teeth stuff is optional in my opinion. I'm going to just do it normally without my teeth shut. But it's going to be at the threshold of where the tone quits. The tone should be kind of bad on this one. The pitch should waver around because you're never locking it in. You're playing at about 4 Ps. Here we go. 5 minutes. my cat. Folks, you want to get some serious range and endurance, then you need to man up. Or if you're a gal, you need to woman up. I mean, you need to work your butt. You try that exercise I just did and watch how it exhausts you. Basically, you're not breathing for 5 minutes. That is the Cat Anderson Whisper Quiet 5-minute C. It's an advanced technique in my course. And I'm here to tell you, you do that once a day, like I did, 5 minutes for a month. You might double your endurance and you might throw a half step on top of your range just for 5 minutes a day. But you're going to work. Did it look easy? You do it. And you do it for 30 times in a row for a month. But when you have that extra range and that double of endurance, then you got to come back and thank this guy right there on this video, okay? You make a comment. If you haven't subscribed, you should subscribe right now. And you come back in the middle of January with more power, a little bit better range, and a lot more endurance, and you make a comment right there for everybody to see that it does work. Kurt Thompson, TrumpetSizzle.com, and I was just doing the Cat Anderson 5-minute Whisper Quiet C. Say hello to my little friend. Yes, folks, I found this little contraption online, and I'm going to be doing an experiment, so I'm going to make a couple of subsequent videos on this to let you know what happens. I'm actually doing this just to increase my power and volume. I don't know if you figured this out. I don't really need to increase my range, and I definitely don't need to increase my endurance. But power, I'm all for being the most dominant, powerful brass player anytime, any place, anywhere, baby. And let's just see what this does. I just did like, 10 reps of that, and feel there's something going on. Now, this is an isometric activity, kind of, because you actually have a device. So, I mean, you're actually doing, an exercise where isometric means you're kind of like tensing muscles against themselves. Kind of like if you just kind of grip your fist, go like that, that's kind of isometrical. Where if you had something that you were squeezing, that would be just more of a regular type of calisthenic exercise. So, for those of you who follow my stuff, I think you might get a kick out of what happens. I like to give things a decent amount of time, so I'm going to give this little contraption here about a month to see what happens and see if I notice when I get ready to blow. In fact, I might get out my old trusty decibel meter. Remember that one from a couple years ago? And the threshold of pain, if you remember watching that one and the new one I just put out, the threshold of pain for your ears is 130 decibels. Now, if you watched that one from a couple years ago, which I just recently kind of edited, I got my double A up to 126.5. Folks, now that's trained whistleblowing loud. And then I included a couple examples where, I buried the band with that note. What I would like to see is if this guy can get me up to that 130 mark on my double A. Yes, that would be cool. That means anybody that I don't like would experience the threshold of pain at 130 decibels on my double A. Yes, it will become a legitimate weapon of vengeance. And you too can be able to exact revenge on people that rub you the wrong freaking way. So, for those of you who play trumpet, watch my progress on this little contraption. And by the way, I'm thinking that even if you don't play trumpet, guys, this could be a wonderful Christmas gift for your girlfriend or wife. You know what I'm talking about, baby? Yes. So even if she doesn't play trumpet or is not a musician, you still may want to order this for her. Get my drift? Let's exit with a little bit more exercise here. Ready? Thanks again for watching this video. I hope that you got something out of it. Sometimes I make a video just to make you laugh. A lot of times I make a video to educate you on something and maybe even help solve a problem. So I hope something like that occurred for you in this video. And while you're at it, again, subscribe, click on my website link, and go on to the next video. It's lovely out here. Have a great day. How about, let's see if I can get my double A up into the 120 range as well. I'm proud of that. That's almost 130. I think I got up to 127 range. It's a wonderful little tool. You ought to get one of these decimal meters and you can kind of critique yourself on how much power you really have. Okay, here we go. Double C. Lip buzzing is a poison, so you really have to be careful. This is a lip buzzing tutorial, lip buzzing 101. And I'm going to get some close-up shots here of my chops while we lip buzz. Lip buzzing can really cause you a lot of consternation. It could set you back. It could destroy your chops. It can make you have the inability to even get a tone out on your brass instrument. This tutorial is for all brass instruments. A lot of people think it's only for trumpet, because that's my main instrument, but it's trumpet, trombone, French horn, baritone, tuba, euphonium. If you buzz a metal mouthpiece into an instrument, this tutorial is for you. First of all, lip buzzing is a poison, and that's why some people have tried it and then issue it because it really screwed them up. You know, some people take nitroglycerin for heart problems. Think about it, folks. Nitroglycerin explodes. That's that little liquid that if you have a certain amount of it, you throw it, it will really explode like dynamite. So nitroglycerin is a poison, but yet people take it for their heart problems. Zoloft and Lexapro and a bunch of other drugs are good for people that have depression and bipolar disorders. You take too much of it, you're really going to be screwed badly. Anything you can think of that can help you in small doses could also kill you. Let me think of one other thing. Well, let's just pick Vicodin. You know, Vicodin, the painkiller. You know, you take a little bit of it, it makes you high, gets rid of the pain. If you take too much of that, man, it will definitely kill you. So, poisons can really be beneficial, and they can also kill you. And lip buzzing is a poison. It's not like doing lip slurs, and it's not like doing other stuff. I mean, you can do lip slurs all day long if you wanted to. It's not going to kill you. If you lip buzzed all day long, you won't be playing for the next week or two. I can guarantee that. So lip buzzing is a poison, but it's a necessary evil to incorporate because it does focus on one thing. Here. Lip strength. A lot of people confuse all this as embouchure. Not true. You really need to investigate this for yourself, but if you happen to see a cadaver and you peel back the skin, and I know it's kind of gross, the tissue fiber here in your lips is different than the embouchure, the feather-like muscles that surround your lips, the corners that we all work on real hard, right? The corners, all these muscles here that are real tight. Well, the lip flesh and tissue is different. And so you can actually work on strengthening the lips. And the reason that you want to do that is because the lip muscle in the aperture is the final stage of compression. You have your diaphragm. That's number one. You have the tongue arch and the bottleneck that happens with the tongue arch and the squeeze. Number two. And then you have the aperture, which is the third and final stage of compression. The aperture is just a fancy word for the little hole. That's the aperture right there. The little area where the air comes out and goes into your mouthpiece. That's the aperture. Excuse me. Those are the three stages of compression. And you must work on all of those if you want to get a good tone, good power, and of course good range and endurance. If you fail on one of those, you're going to be lacking. And a lot of people tend to fail on the aperture part. Basically what happens is if you don't have a strong lip strength here, when you blow enough air through the mouthpiece, your lips will blow apart. What happens when your lips blow apart? When your lips blow apart, you have more air going through the aperture, but at a slower velocity. So think about that. Your lips blow apart slightly. It's not exaggerated, but they blow apart enough to slow the air down. You get more air through the aperture, and your range goes down. Okay? What happens? You end up cramming the mouthpiece against the horn. Cramming the mouthpiece against your lips, and your lips start swelling. Your endurance goes out the window, and you end up having a bad night of playing. So, lip buzzing 101. You really need to get involved with lip buzzing. But the thing about it is a poison. So if you lip buzz 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or an hour, like some college professors told me a long time ago when I was in high school, I couldn't play for a couple of weeks. It screwed me up. I lost range, endurance. It's horrible. It took me years and years and years of experimenting with lip buzzing to find the right mix. So, I would recommend that you check out my website, because lip buzzing and several techniques related to lip buzzing actually is incorporated into my 16-week brass upper register course. So the bottom line is you have to be able to lip buzz. Almost a double C there. That wasn't warmed up. You have to have the strength in your lips to buzz without the horn to really magnify your range and endurance and really increase the compression that happens in your aperture. So this is Lip Buzzing 101 tutorial, just basically telling you why and the hows, and hopefully that you'll pursue it further. But last word, and I've said it several times, and I know it's repetitive, it is a poison. So you go beyond a certain time limit with your lip buzzing or buzz too loud, and you will make things really, really bad for yourself. Maybe the inability to play for a few days or a couple of weeks, so be careful. If you want to know more about lip buzzing and how to incorporate it in your practice, and the different various techniques that you can employ in your practice to help that last stage of compression, then go ahead and click on the link you see below. You have to click on the description and open it up, and you'll see my link there. Go there and you can email me, or simply email me at kurt@trumpetsizzle.com. KURT@trumpetsizzle.com. So I hope this video tutorial made a little sense to you. If you don't employ lip buzzing at all, I'm convinced you will never gain and master the range on any brass instrument. That I can guarantee. You must master the lip buzzing. I will see you later, my friend. Bye-bye. Why do you really need to have more range than what you see on the page in your rehearsal and your ensembles? Well, I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you why that the notes and the highest notes that you have in your ensembles is not where your range needs to be. Your range really needs to be a lot higher than what you have to play in your music. And the reason is you need to have a cushion of 3 to 4 notes of range above and beyond what you are required to play in your ensembles, from orchestral to concertos to lead trumpet to rock, and I'm about ready to demonstrate a couple of those right now. Having more range simply allows you to play a wide variety of music without killing yourself. And here's a really awesome piece that I love. I've played before and I plan on playing it again. Concerto in La Bemol, or otherwise known as Vivaldi Concerto in A flat for piccolo trumpet. Now, I don't happen to have a piccolo handy, so I'm going to use my big horn, which means I'm going to be using my piccolo fingerings on the big horn, because this is a transposition that I'm doing, and of course some of the notes may be a little bit out of tune on the big horn. But I'm just going to go down to one note before, let's see, where are we? Maybe near the very end. Like one note before number 3. That's the second line from the bottom of this first movement, Allegro. And that was a live recording of me now. No dubbing, no punching out, no punching in, no nothing. And that just gives you an example. I did that on my big B-flat trumpet. So, classical music requires chops, requires range. And if your range is an E-flat on trumpet or a concert D-flat, and that's it, you won't be able to play this particular piece because you'll be killing yourself with the pressure. So that's why we have to have more range than what we really need. when we're looking at a piece of music. To play this piece and make it sound good and easy and with a gorgeous tone, you can't have just a concert D flat range. You really need a concert G flat or concert G, really, to have that big cushion from what you have to play on the page to what you have in your practice room on your face. So that was Antonio Vivaldi Concerto in A flat for piccolo trumpet. Here we're looking at near the very end of the first movement of the Humble Concerto. And actually, if you play the Humble Concerto on an E-flat trumpet, it's a million times easier, but you will see a lot of people play it on their bighorn. In fact, I'm going to do a little bit right now. Some of the stuff that I'm going to be playing goes up to a high C on the B-flat trumpet or concert D-flat. If your range is only a high C or high D, you're going to have a lot of trouble with this piece. In any piece that has high C range, you have no cushion. You're going to be playing on the skin of your teeth. You're going to be using too much mouthpiece pressure. You're probably out of tune. You'll probably miss a lot of notes. You won't have any endurance. It's not going to be fun. That's another reason why you have to have a lot more range than what's called for in a particular piece. I'm starting at, it looks like measure 273. It's the second line down, right near the end of this first movement. And that was just a little excerpt from the very end of the first movement of the Hummel. Went up to high C on my B-flat trumpet. Lord knows if I had a high C or a high D range on trumpet, I would be in seriously big-time trouble trying to play this, and especially in a live performance. You have to have more range. On a piece like this, you definitely would like to have an F on trumpet. That's a concert E-flat above high C, at a minimum, to be able to go through this and make it sound easy, and also for it to be easy for you to play. Here we have a slow rock ballad. It's a second trumpet part, but don't be fooled by that, because the second trumpet part here is actually playing the lead part. As you know, Maynard's playing the solo. So don't let the sun go down on me. If you look at the very beginning, it's not really that horrible. In fact, this one never really gets that horrible for the lead part, which is played by the second trumpet player. But still, you have to have more than the high E flat that you're going to see there on the first line. That was the first line and a note. For the second trumpet part on Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, and it went up to an E flat. If you can play an E flat in your practice, or an E, or even an F, you're going to really have a lot of trouble with that line, because you need to have at least a double A flat, so you can be nailing this without killing yourself and playing on the skin of your teeth. Another example why you need to have more range than what you think. That's a little lick in Birdland right after measure S. And then, of course, you got the beginning. Hey, we're looking at the first part of the first trumpet part for Spinning Wheel. And, you have two measures of rest. This is a rock piece, obviously rock, funk, whatever you want to call it. And look at the first couple measures for the first trumpet part. You're going to be in it on a high C sharp. And lordy, if you just have a high C sharp or high D as your max range, you're going to have a lot of trouble playing some of these fun rock and pop charts. There's no question about it. We're not even talking about the super tough, top tier lead trumpet stuff. Um, Actually, this does get tough. The spinning wheel Maynard's version does get tough. But I'm just talking about this first line, for example. 3, 4. To put some meat on the bone and have some sizzle, you have to have a lot more than a high C sharp or high D on your B flat trumpet to be able to play stuff like this. You really do. Otherwise, you're going to kill yourself. You're going to be out of tune. You're going to be wondering why you're using too much mouthpiece pressure. You're going to be having endurance problems. Another reason why you need to have more range than what you actually have to play when you're looking at a piece of music. So I just did that the first couple of measures there just to show that you do have to have more range than just what's on the page. Otherwise, you're going to run into problems. Demonstration and explanation why you really have to have more range than what you think. It's amazing how many students I get in my course and they'll tell me that they have a high D or a high E flat, and when I ask them, well, what typically do you have to play in your big band or your rock band or your orchestra or your community Broadway shows? And when they tell me high C's and D's, I just kind of cringe because that's tough, folks. To have a high D max range and you're playing up to high D in your ensembles, I mean, that's a recipe for disaster and pain and torture and bad endurance problems, everything. You got to get your range up. I hope that some of the examples I provided, even to you classical players, I provided an example of the Hummel and also the Vivaldi concerto. I mean, it really makes sense. You have to get your range way, way well above where you are required to play in your daily performance and rehearsals. I'm running some very good Black Friday specials that are going to conclude this evening. I'm going to try to get this up. If I don't get it up in time, I'll put a note below. Look below, and I've had a couple people request that I extend it until tomorrow on Monday. So depending on when I get this video up, if it doesn't come up until mid-evening, that doesn't give a lot of people time to react to this particular video. In which case, look down the notes, and I might extend it until tomorrow. But really, my programs, I'm cutting some of them almost in half just for this weekend, just to get you involved so you can see what all the buzz is about, why people are getting good results. So TrumpetSizzle.com, I'm Kurt Thompson, and look down in the description below this video. You're going to see some links where you can click on and start learning how to play first trumpet, lead trumpet in a rock band, swing band, jazz band, or if you just want to up your game for concertos and pick work. You got to take advantage of these programs now. They will resume at their normal offering price probably late tonight or late Monday night. You'll have to look down in the description to see what I decided to do. Bye-bye for now. So you want to play like Maynard, huh? Yeah, you and about a million other people do too. So we're going to talk a little bit about the desire to play like Maynard, and then the reality, and some people's very close attempts to play and sound like Maynard, and some people's attempts to sound like Maynard thinking that they do, but they really don't. And we're talking about some of Maynard's most famous lead trumpet players. And some of these guys are some of the A-list players in LA and New York and Chicago. We're going to find out what the difference is. First of all, if you're listening to this and you don't have your range up to a pretty good level, I would stop this video and immediately go to my website, TrumpetSizzle.com, and get enrolled in the 16-week upper register program. You're wasting your time. Maynard is about having the acumen and the facility and the power in the upper register. And if you don't have that, then this video is just a waste of your time. It might motivate you to get busy and start working on your range. But frankly, I'm talking to people that either have already developed their range or thinking about playing lead, or they already play lead, or they've already even tried to play some Maynard before in rehearsal or at a concert. We're going to be talking about some of the things that cause people to not sound like Maynard. In fact, I guess it was about a year ago, I had some hater idiot that said that you sound like Maynard, but why don't you play your own way? Why don't you be yourself? Why don't you do your own thing? Why are you trying to copy Maynard? And my response to this individual, without all the explicatives, like F you and mother effer and, all that kind of stuff, was pretty much this. Maynard is a style. He's not only an individual and a player, but he created a style. So that would be like asking some organist on Easter morning or in the holiday season, what in the world are you thinking? You're trying to copy, Handel. Why? Why don't you just do your own thing? Hey, what are you thinking? You're sounding like Bach. Hey, what are you thinking? That symphony's, No, it sounds like Beethoven. What are you thinking? Why don't you just play your own way? It is because some of us musicians like the style of a particular composer, era, or individual. And we want to play in that style. We want to sound like that. That is a style. So, who in their right mind would play Brahms and try to sound like Scott Joplin? Right? Ridiculous. So when we're talking about trying to sound like Maynard, trying to play like Maynard, what we're really saying is we want to play with his style, in the style of Maynard Ferguson. Can anybody ever play like Maynard? No. Even the people that come closest still do not play exactly like Maynard. It's impossible. He was a one of a kind. So no matter how hard you try to copy Maynard, the best that can happen to you is you become better because you have some of the essence of his playing in yours, but you will never be a Maynard clone. Nobody is. Let's get that out of the way. So when we're trying to play in a particular style, we can call player Maynard Ferguson a style. He had a style, and his style was very smooth, rounded, singable, powerful style, and which is not a lead trumpet style, and that's where the problem is for you folks that already play lead, that already have range. And I'm going to do some demonstrations on what I've heard. People, and I'm talking about some high-powered, high-caliber people that came from Maynard's band, and one of them gets all the gigs in LA, seems like, gets just about every gig, and he's been featured on several Maynard. He's never done a Maynard tribute. A Maynard tribute means you got to get out there and face the audience, in my opinion, at least 8 Maynard songs by yourself. That's a Maynard tribute by one individual. So this particular person I'm talking about has never done a Maynard Ferguson tribute like I have, like Eric Miyashiro has, like a guy up in New York, Ron Reski, has. But this guy is the top dog in LA. I think we all know who we're talking about, but I'm not going to mention names. He's never done a Maynard Ferguson tribute. 8 songs on a concert at least. And no stand. If you're going to play in the style of Maynard, you do not use a stand and bury your freaking head in the stand. Hello? Are you kindergartners out there? Maynard was not only about his style, but he was about his connection with the audience. I think on some new charts you might have seen him go over there and glance at his stand, possibly, but on the songs that he knew well, he got right out there in front and wanted to connect with the audience. And being buried in a stand, like you're the studio sight-reading fool that you are, you know who I'm talking about, Mr. LA guy, that's not Maynard. If you have to have your eyes locked on every note on a solo that you've been playing for 20 years by Maynard, that's not Maynard. Okay, you just totally missed it. So, playing Maynard is in playing a particular style. It doesn't mean that you're going to turn into a Maynard clone. You let me know when you find someone that's turned into a Maynard Ferguson clone that plays exactly like Maynard. I want to find out who that would be, because so far that's never happened, ever. So, now that you know what we're talking about playing in a particular style, the Maynard Ferguson style. We want to play in that style because he set the bar for having this ridiculously melodic, lullaby, cantabile type of sound in the upper register that almost sounded like he was singing on a lot of the charts, right? Yeah. So I'm going to pick out a couple of songs that are well known, not some of his more obscure ones, but they're well known and people try to play. And I'm going to try to differentiate on how the style would be correct for Maynard, the Maynard style, and how it would be incorrect if you're playing it as a lead trumpet player. There's a difference. So let's try to find something. And I have no music in front of me. Look around. I'm in a practice room. The only thing I have in front of my stand, I got some Clark, baby. So I don't have any Maynard music in front of me. It's going to have to come from my head. I got Herbert L. Clark there, but that's not going to help us out with the Maynard. So we can take what I consider one of his easier charts, and this is one that a lot of people can start working on if you haven't worked on Maynard Ferguson and the style, which would be My Funny Valentine. Now, we're not going to go through the easy ballad stuff in the beginning. We're trying to capture the part where people really screw up. Not necessarily screw up the notes as far as missing notes or accuracy, but screw up the style, and they end up sounding like a lead player. So nearing the end, it's kind of like the push. Let me see if I can get my bearings. Okay, that's a very sweet singable part in My Funny Valentine near the end that Maynard just sounds wonderful on. And I've actually gotten pretty close of capturing the Maynard style myself on that particular section. And that's when people actually work with me and learn the Maynard, we work on that one of the first ones. It doesn't go too terribly high. Now, I've heard countless lead players and some from Maynard's band play it like this. Sorry. All in all, they're hitting the right notes, right? Yes, they are. What's the difference? And as we get into May 4th, we're getting very close to Maynard's birthday of 2016, which is on May 4th. You're going to hear people pop up playing some of the Maynard stuff. I'm confident of it. In fact, I heard there's a big shindig in LA with some of the Maynard's alumni. Now, I want you to use this tutorial and listen to what they do. You're going to notice almost all of them, except for probably Eric Miyashiro and maybe one other person, is going to sound like the lead trumpet player trying to play in the Maynard style, not playing the Maynard style. Don't take my word for it. Watch this video right before you see some of these guys play, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And no, they aren't trying to play in their own style or play with their own personality. That, like, again, that would be like playing toccata and fugue in D minor and you know, playing it like you're some kind of jazz piano player, right? Or playing it like Barry Manilow, right? No, when you play in the style of something, you play in that style. You can bring in whatever you want from your own personality, but you play in that style. You don't screw up the style, okay? And you're going to hear these lead trumpet players screw up the Maynard style. They're going to get the high notes, they're going to get the notes, but they're screwing up the style. Just like I did on My Funny Valentines. So, playing it like a lead player, you smack the notes harder than you normally would, just like you would in lead. That's a lead player mentality. Lead playing the Maynard Ferguson solo. No, you've just totally screwed up the entire style, my lead playing friend. So that's one example about why even people that are the top professional level lead players cannot seem to play like Maynard and play in that style. They're playing like a lead player, right? Lead player. Lots of harsh articulations and pops and percussive attacks that go right along with the rhythm section. No, we're not playing that way when we're playing Maynard. Lead trumpet player. Turn on a light bulb. Think. Let's go on to a harder example now. What would be harder? Okay, a lot of people try to attempt this particular song, and most crash and burn on it, but the ones that actually get through it are not sounding like Maynard. So, again, you know I don't have the music in front of me, and I'm having to do this off the cuff. I'm just trying to get the song in my head. Let me see if I can get it. Okay. If you don't recognize that, that's from the Big Push, kind of in the middle of the piece of Danny Boy, from way, way, way on back. Way, way, way back. I believe that probably was in the 60s. Or maybe, you know what? It might have even been in, could have been the 50s too, when he first started getting that one going. Well, you hear a lot of people trying that one. You can go on YouTube right now and see a lot of people doing that one. Will it sound like I just did? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So, the lead player approach on this one, who hasn't thought about the Maynard Ferguson style, which is a style, is going to play it something like this. I got pretty much all the right notes, didn't I? Yeah, for the most part. But it sucks if you're trying to play it in the Maynard style. That's a lead trumpet style that I just did there. In fact, I could have even overdid it more than what I just did. So the singability in the Maynard style makes the solo. Not your high notes or how loud you can play or how rough you can attack stuff. Lead trumpet players out there. That's another example, Danny Boy. Listen to everybody playing Danny Boy, except for Eric Miyashiro, and it's going to sound kind of like I did on the lead trumpet part of my demonstration here. Okay, let's move on to some other ones now. MacArthur Park. MacArthur Park is the one that everybody tries. This is one that features that top LA trumpet player who's got his, he looks like this when he's playing. He's in the stand, he's playing like this. He's played this a million times, but he's still got his nose and his horn buried in the stand. Yeah, totally not playing the style of Maynard. And then his playing is not in the style of Maynard. People go ooh and ah because he's hitting the high notes. I don't go ooh and ah on his playing at all. Ever. Zero. Nada. So, what is he doing that's not in the appropriate style of playing Maynard? Well, let's see what part of MacArthur Park are we going to pick. Let's see here. I guess maybe near the front of it. Okay, quite smooth, quite flowing, quite connected, right? Go back and listen to Maynard do that and listen to what I just did. It's about the same thing, right? Except when you watch some of his live stuff and he's getting a little bit funky. And sometimes he does when he's doing some of the live stuff like the Maynard Ferguson stuff. Okay, so now how would you screw up the Maynard style on that one and make it sound more like a lead trumpet player playing that particular song and not playing correctly in the Maynard Ferguson style, you would do it like this. That's a lead trumpet player mentality coming at what could have been a gorgeous, beautiful, singable, melodic solo, and you're pounding it and you're pounding it and you're pounding it like a lead trumpet player. Almost like the whole agenda is just to get the high notes popping out loud. You totally screwed it up, Mr. LA studio guy from Maynard Ferguson, old-timey band. You screwed it up. How come you can't play it like Maynard? Like I just did, because you're missing the important part of the style. Okay, it's not about playing lead trumpet with the Maynard solo. It's about playing the Maynard Ferguson solo style, which this person obviously, until now, still hasn't got. Let's go on to another one. Yet another one. So this one's one that's also very famous. You might even hear it on May 4th when they do the tribute. Let me see if I can remember how it goes. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Now, in all fairness, the Gonna Fly Now theme and the Rocky theme does have a little bit more punch, percussive, articulated attacks than, say, some of the other ballad solos that we were talking about earlier. So the lead players that are playing this, that were in Maynard's band, can somewhat get away with having that lead player mentality because that's just kind of the style, part of the style of this one. But still, there should be a flowing, effortlessness and connectedness with the solo. So how can I make this solo less like Maynard and more like a lead, more like an LA top tier, world class A group lead player? You could tell the difference in that it was a choppy, lots of taking air breaks and stuff like that to make sure you're getting the high notes, as opposed to the nice, smooth, singable style that should be in that particular piece. But like I said before, it is a rock disco piece, so there is going to be more punch to it than the typical Maynard Ferguson style. So that's why the lead players, if you hear this on May 4th, they're going to get away with being a little bit more punchy with it and still making it sound close to the style. But by throwing in all these air breaks and some of the things that they're doing, it totally takes away from the style, in my opinion. Okay, so let's see if there's any more Maynard Ferguson things to talk about. But maybe the Gospel John thing, right? Okay, that was pretty close to the Maynard and Ferguson style. If you're a lead trumpet player playing that, just thinking it's all about the high notes, you're going to end up sounding like this. typical lead player coming at the Gospel John Maynard Ferguson solo and playing it as though a lead trumpet player would. Is he getting the notes? Pretty much. Is it loud? Yes, that was loud. Is it really in the style of Maynard? No. Maynard would never play. He would never play Gospel John like that. That's how a lead trumpet player would approach that solo, and not Maynard Ferguson. So anyway, I hope I've turned on the light bulb for you lead trumpet players that have thought about playing Maynard, or you already have, and then you go back and look, and you're thinking there's something missing in my performance. Why? I just don't sound like Maynard. I just don't got that style. What's going on? So just forgive yourself, because you'll never be Maynard, but you can sound and get the style like Maynard, because that's what we're after. Again, if we're going to play Furley's da 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 dee da da, right, by Beethoven, we're not going to play it at da 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 da. Those would be the right notes, but the wrong freaking style, because we're trying to play in the style of Beethoven, and here we're trying to play in the style of Maynard Ferguson. You're trying to play in the style of Maynard Ferguson. By God, play in the style of Maynard Ferguson, and not some lead trumpet player that's chopping it up with a big old hacksaw. Okay, that's my tutorial on playing in the style of Maynard Ferguson and trying to play like him, versus just going for the high notes as a professional lead trumpet player and being satisfied and all smug with yourself that you got the high notes. No, you missed it. And then this stand, if you got the stand in front of you and you're playing a Maynard Ferguson tribute or solo and you got your eyes buried in that stand, you have so freaking missed the point of Maynard and the connectedness that Maynard had with his audience. You just totally missed it. Watch on May 4th, if there's a tribute concert, watch how many people that played with Maynard, bink, missed it. Maynard never came out hunched, with his eyes and his horn buried in the stand, playing a solo. Never did that. I mean, come on, folks. So if you're trying to play Maynard, rewind this video and watch over and over and over again, and you just might be able to get some of this into your playing and sound better. For those of you who have the range and have some lead but would like to start venturing out playing Maynard Ferguson stuff, I'm telling you, it is the hardest part that you can do on the horn. Playing Maynard Ferguson or another written high note solo, whether it be Doc Severinsen or Bill Chase, really doesn't matter. When you are playing the written high note solo, folks, there's nothing else. There's no other harder music for you to play. And I know this for a fact. I got a video I'm going to put up where I made my living playing the Carnival of Venice all summer long, 5 shows a day. Okay? I've done that. I played all the toughest Empire Brass and Canadian Brass Quintet music. I've done it all. I played all the hardest piccolo pieces. Michael Haydn, Brandenburg, the toughest Vivaldi piece on piccolo. I've warmed up on the Hindemith. I played the Hummel and the Haydn. I've done the Tomasi. I played Alan Vizuti's Cascades. I've done it all. And then I played the hardest lead trumpet parts known to man. What's the hardest thing? None of that. The hardest thing is to stand up, pick up your horn, walk out in front of the band. It's you in the mic or you in the audience, and to play that known written high note solo that everybody knows. So second book jazz players, there's no finger wiggling your way out of this one, my friends. There's no taking the horn off and listening to the rhythm section do a little something while you're resting your chops. When you play the written high note solo, it's game on. It's you play to the end. You make it or you don't. It is the hardest. I've done it all. It is the hardest. Don't believe me? Let's put you to the test. I'll pick 2 Maynard Ferguson solos for you. We'll go to a rehearsal big band and we'll make you step out front and play it. Got to play it from memory too. What's the point of burying your nose in the stand? That's not Maynard. Then we'll see what you think. It's tough love, baby, and you need it. Ever feel stiff? Not in that good way, guys. Come on now, get your mind out of the gutter. Do your lips ever feel stiff? Is what I meant to say. You know, that you felt better before, the day before, a couple days before that, but you're playing today and you're missing a couple notes, and even lip slurs, just normal thing. It happens to everybody. I think it happens to every player on the planet, whether they will admit it or not. Even the best players in the world. You know what happened to Maynard, because you can watch some of his live performances where he actually was having some trouble. So yes, your lips do get stiff from time to time. You lose your flexibility from time to time. And have you ever noticed that on some mornings and some afternoons you're playing and you got this kind of fuzz and you're airing your sound? And let's just pretend that you're not even a guy that, or a gal, that cares about playing above high C, and so you're not playing in that extreme register. But you got this fuzz in your sound, so it's obviously not from playing too high and playing too loud. And it bothers you. It bothers me. Well, I teach my students a plethora of many remedies for this particular situation. And one of them is weird. One of them's crazy. And one of them you just won't believe. You know what this is? Who can tell me what this is? Take a wild guess. No. No, it's not that. It's not a shepherd's crook or, a modern shepherd's crook. It's not a telescope. Well, kind of. Yeah, it could be a telescope. No, it's not any kind of weapon. Maybe you're thinking of it, but you can't spit it out on your tongue. What is this? Still can't get it? This is a didgeridoo. Didgeridoo. Indigenous to Australia, but you can order the plastic PVC pipe version in many parts of the world. And obviously, if you want the real thing with the real wood that comes from Australia, carved by the indigenous aboriginals from Australia, of course, you're going to pay about $1,000 for it. We don't need to do that. We're not trying to learn how to play this guy. This is a didgeridoo. We're not going to learn to circular breathe, and we're not going to learn to play this instrument correctly. We are going to use it as a tool to dissipate tension, brittleness, and stiffness in your lips, your chops, and to help get rid of that fuzz and extra air that's in your tone that is not normally there. But on some special occasions it is, and usually it tends to be when you've played too much, or had a gig that went overboard, or there's other reasons. Maybe you didn't have time to divide your practice out, and you had to practice 2 hours at one pop and then get on a plane or something. So there's a lot of reasons why your lips might get stiff, and why you might get that air in your tone, and why you might find yourself having difficulty doing things that otherwise would be easy for you. That's happened to me in the Clark book. In case you didn't know, I kind of know, my way around the Clark book a little bit. And, but sometimes, especially after I've done a lot of lead work or a lot of jazz, you do 2 hours of improvisation with the Jamie Aebersold stuff, and let me tell you, this is going to about fall off, and it can stiffen you up. And so I have got to the Clark book in the morning, kind of warming up, and I'm going, what the hell's going on here? I mean, I can't move across the horn easy like I normally can. I'm all stiff. Well, my go-to tool, this is just crazy. You're looking at me and you're going, he's got to be crazy. Well, I am a little bit crazy, but I also am crazy like a fox. This guy, get one. If you got $25 or $30 US dollars in your pocket, or you can beg, borrow, or steal it, get one of these guys. You can order offline, from what I've been told from some of my students. Now, I got this at a um, what was it? Exotic musical shop in San Francisco in Chinatown, where they have zithers and African congas and congos and you name it, maracas and shakers and stuff, and they had some of these. So I got mine for about $50 in San Francisco, but you can order yours online for $25, $30. So I'm not pulling your leg on this one. I'm not. I'm being serious, very serious. Little dab on this one a day per will do you. So did I say that right? A little dab per day will do you. That's right. So I like to do it 1 minute, 4 times a day. Now some days I don't do it. I don't have the time. But definitely if I feel something sneaking up on me, like my lips are starting to stiffen up, I'm playing all of a sudden, where's that air coming from? I will get this guy out. Make sure I do it 1 minute, 4 times a day. Do not use your normal embouchure. So this can work for all brass instruments. If you're a tuba player, baritone, trombone, French horn, cornet, trumpet, doesn't matter, but you can't come at the didgeridoo like this. No. That's going to make things worse, folks. You're coming at this soft, relaxed. Look at that. Lips, relax. Like your lip flapping. Watch. You've seen me enough. That ain't my normal embouchure, right? No. So, pay heed. Do not use your normal embouchure, and don't get goofy and cocky and try to think that you're going to invent some kind of new way to build high notes or range by blowing hard on this and using your normal embouchure. You will destroy your chops. I'm not kidding you. Some brass players actually, or brass teachers, will actually have you tear down your chops if you have a really screwed up embouchure. And the way they do that, especially for high brass players, is to give you a big tuba mouthpiece or a baritone mouthpiece and just have you buzz on that mouthpiece, totally obliterate your chops and the sensation and the feeling of where your normal embouchure was. So you don't want to be playing this guy in any kind of embouchure. We're just doing it. We're getting all the circulation going in there, all the vibrations. We're loosening it up. It's almost like a massage for your face. It's loosening everything up. And you do this for a couple of days, easy, don't blow it loud, 1 minute, times 4, spread it out evenly, and you will be amazed. Now, it might take you a day, and it might take you 3 days, but you don't have to go longer than 3 days to have your problem of stiffness and air in your tone remedied. And guess what? You got this all from me for free, right? Amazing. But I gotta plug my course, right? You know I do. I gotta plug my course. So you should have thought, wait a minute, how is he coming up with all this stuff? And guess what? There's a ton of stuff like this that's a little bit quirky and wacky that I got in my 16-week course. Stuff you've never even thought about. Stuff that even the masters, Gordon, Caruso, Stevens, Reinhardt, Adam, Clark, and on, they didn't think about either. It's in my course. I got some really wacky stuff that works. This is one of them. But now some people do know about the didgeridoo for dissipating tension and stiffness, but there's a lot of stuff in my course that they don't know about because I'm the one that actually discovered it, invented it, or created a hybrid of 2 techniques and made a unique technique. So of course I'm going to plug my course. I'm giving this to you for free to build some goodwill and value. I hope that you can see the value in this right here. It's just amazing. Go out and spend your $30 on a didgeridoo. And the next time that you find yourself not feeling quite normal, or playing, you got that fuzz in your sound, or maybe you had to play a big band gig until 1 a.m. at a wedding reception, and things are bad the next couple days, get this guy, get it out. Yes, you can thank me right now. Here, I'll shake your hand. There you go. You'll be wanting to thank me when you get this out and it solves your problem in a couple of days. Cool? All right. About a pound. There we go. Kurt Thompson. You should have my site memorized by now, but it's trumpetsizzle.com. Trumpet sizzle, all one word. Trumpetsizzle.com. Go there. You're going to be surprised at all the stuff that I got there waiting for you. Tongue-controlled embouchure, TCE, spit buzz, Jerome Callet. And I know I'm leaving out, I think, a couple of German people. Sorry about that, German folks. I think there's a very influential German trumpet player. His name is just escaping me right now. He might not have actually taught it, but I think he was employing the TCE, and he sounded pretty spectacular. I can't think of his name right offhand. I believe the guy I'm thinking of died at an early age of early 40s due to alcoholism. But he was a pretty good player, and I believe he's associated with the TCE, tongue-controlled embouchure. So if the TCE is the holy grail to playing brass and trumpet, why isn't everybody doing that? Forget Claude Gordon, forget Stamps, Maggio, Reinhardt, Stevens, Adam, Caruso, on and on and on. They're just balanced embouchure, pops, everything else that you've ever heard of. Forget it all. Why not do tongue-controlled embouchure? The reason is because the tongue-controlled embouchure really doesn't take you through the process, in my opinion, and you need to go through that process. It's kind of a radical, different approach to playing a brass instrument that could work for somebody who's tried other possibilities. That's how I'm going to say it. So I don't recommend anybody go out and start doing their spit buzz and the tongue-controlled embouchure and changing their embouchure to that. But I do recommend the tongue-controlled embouchure and checking it out if you've tried everything else. I mean, this hasn't happened yet, but if you go through my course and it still didn't kick your butt and make you where you wanted to be at physical-wise, then try the tongue-controlled embouchure. But I haven't actually had to point anybody in that direction, because the people that go through my course go through the process and they come out very strong and usually getting what they're after. But I would recommend the TCE if you've tried other things and have failed or fallen flat on. It seems to work for some people. I can't remember the guy's name now. You're really going to hate me on butchering these names. I think Mac, he's even a friend of mine on Facebook. Mac Gallahan. Sorry if I'm not getting that exactly right. I believe he uses that and with tremendous success. But again, I don't see it being the holy grail to brass and trumpet playing. I really don't. I've tried it myself. I tried switching my embouchure over to it. You know, there uses no tongue arch, and the spit buzz, and it's kind of weird. You're kind of using part of your tongue as your lip. It's just, I'm not going to go into it all right now, but it didn't work for me at all, and I don't think it's going to work for most players. But I think it will work possibly if you've tried everything else. I mean, this is a good last resort routine and technique to get into. So there you have it, the Jerome Callet method, if you want to think of it that way. I think he had a video out called Master Super Jobs, and otherwise it's tongue-controlled embouchure. I don't think Jerome Callet invented that. I mean, I believe it might have been invented in Germany or over there in Europe. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it on the tongue-controlled embouchure. Hi, I'm Kurt Thompson, and welcome to my channel. That's youtube.com/your brass instructor. Thanks for just watching the video that you did. Maybe it's the first one that you've watched, or maybe you've watched tons of my videos. In fact, as of June 2016, as a brass player and trumpet player, I have the most tutorials free on the planet. I have over 600 videos on my YouTube channel currently, all free. So again, thanks again for watching this video. I hope that you got something out of it. Sometimes I make a video just to make you laugh. A lot of times I make a video to educate you on something and maybe even help solve a problem. So I hope something like that occurred for you in this video. And while you're at it, again, subscribe, click on my website link, and go on to the next video. It's lovely out here. Have a great day. Back to nature with Bill Adam lead pipe buzzing advanced trumpet lesson here. Kurt Thompson, I'm going to expose you to a very, very useful, powerful, and efficient practice technique. And this is actually going to be more doable and more absorbable if you've already been doing the Bill Adams routines and the Bill Adam routine. I always like to pronounce his name with an S. For those of you who don't know, Bill Adam was the best trumpet teacher at Indiana in Bloomington, bar none. There's no one that's even close to him before or after. And it's just too bad that he's not still teaching. And he's, of course he's getting older. In fact, I haven't even checked to see if he's still around, but I hope that he is. Anyway, even if he is, I mean, he's just the best teacher at Indiana, and he came up with a lot of cool stuff. And I played with a lot of IU guys back in the day, and these guys were all good players with huge, big sounds. And I believe that they got that partly from Bill Adam lead pipe buzzing. And we're not going to go into his whole routine because you could actually spend an hour and a half or 2 hours doing all the Bill Adam lead pipe buzzing. But I tweaked and twisted and manipulated my own advanced version of Bill Adam lead pipe buzzing. It's just a little snippet. And so what we're going to do is we're going to be starting on perfect force from second line G to middle C and working our way down. And as you'll soon discover, this is going to be very, very difficult to do unless you have extreme flexibility and power built up in your chops. So G to C. Okay, a little flat. Now I'm pulling out the lead pipe, or the tuning slide, so I'll be blowing just through the lead pipe. The same thing. So you can see that I'm actually blowing out through here and not through the whole horn. And you probably could tell by the tone quality. Okay, let's work our way down. Now, most of you probably can get that one. That was G to C. How about F sharp to B? Take the lead pipe out. I'll do it like this so you can see what's going on. Okay, you probably are noticing it's getting extremely hard, and it's going to get about impossible in the next one or two for you. So it's going to feel that way. So F to B flat. Pull this guy out. F to B flat. Taking a lot of intention and focus on my part to get that out. And now we're going to go to a little fly on my lead pipe. Now we're going to go to E to A. So 1 and 2, bottom of the staff, E to A. Take out this guy. For many of you, that would have been almost impossible. I thought I heard a monkey over there in the trees. You hear that? It is back nature time with Kurt Thompson, but I didn't know that we got monkey in the trees and chimpanzees. But anyway, if I don't make it, there he goes again. If I don't make it through this video, you'll know what happened to me. I got taken out by a monkey or chimpanzees. Okay, now it's going to get really hard. In fact, this gets hard for me. E flat to A flat. Pull this guy out. Boom, center that note. And the last one that we will do will be D to G. Pull that one more time. And there you have it. You can consider this extremely advanced. And I put this particular technique that I just did to even the best players on the planet. And if you just sprung it on them and made them do it right without even having a chance to look at it, probably 9 or 10 out of them, I don't care who it is, would have difficulty going through this advanced Bill Adam lead pipe buzzing technique. So the physical part of the horn, yes, the high notes, but listen, so many people that can play high have a real shrill, thin sound. And so it's not about just being able to play high. If you have a real shrieky, shrill